Every handicapper will have a $5 play up at some point. I will have one. I don't know what it's going to be yet. If I play baseball, it'll be this, or I'll get a football play out. We'll get something up for $5. We always do. Brian Leonard, welcome in. Anything up for sale for $5 on Tuesday so far?
Yeah, I put up a play last night. It's on today's college football. We're on an 11-3 run in college football, and you can get that normally $25. It's a 4% play, I believe. $25, and you only get it. Be able to get it today for $5. I do want to point out, is since Brandon obviously isn't with us, that all of our baseball plays from now through the playoffs, unless it's a 5% play, will be up for $9. And since we try to be as truthful as possible on this show, I had a 5% in hockey yesterday. One of those games, and the team was down 1-0 late. I had Ottawa, and at the end of the game, everybody pulls goalies. The whole thing, they lose 4-1. But I went 3-1 overall, including an easy winner on the over in the baseball game that we talked about yesterday, the Toronto game. A lot of scoring in that Seattle-Toronto game. And I thought the line move was a bad one when it was originally out there. And it was 6 runs scored in the first 2 innings. So overall, we both basically broke even, but I hate to lose the 5% plays. And so I just want to let everybody know I apologize for that. And we're going to go at it again today in hockey. 2-1 overall yesterday, and then 1-0 in baseball.
I had one play yesterday. It was a 5%er. It was the Atlanta Falcons. It won, and I watched it with all Bills fans. So I went to a Bills watch party at the casino with action on the Falcons. So that's always fun, and that's always a good time. And we got. I would have been content with a close Bills win. But hey, you know what? I got out of there. Falcons won the game. Probably should have been easy. I was never really that concerned. I got to say, actually, I'll take that back. When the touchdown before the half got called off, which was like a crazy Hail Mary play that they ruled him out at like the 1. And then the Bills came out of the locker room and scored. I could feel the energy in the building because, again, I'm in Central New York. It's all Bills fans. And I'm just like, I am going to be sweating this +4. I know how this goes. I've seen this story before. I know how this goes. And I was ready for it, but Bills just kept turning the ball over. Falcons ended up getting it done. So we didn't even need the +4. Great result. And I had a great weekend in football. 2 5% winners. I went 3-0 overall. I've hit 4 NFL plays in a row. So, it's going well on that side for me. College football, still negative a little bit, but football season has been decent to this point. But it's still baseball season, Brian Leonard, and we still have Major League Baseball playoffs. Tonight, it's just one game. It's game 2, Dodgers-Brewers. So let's get into it. My first thought here when I saw the lines come out, I didn't really agree with the Brewers being an underdog in this game. I understand why they're an underdog in this game. I get it. But after watching Roberts at the end of that game and Sasaki having to come out and then trying to sort of get into trouble, I don't know if the Dodgers get away with another close win at this point in this playoffs. Dave Roberts is going to bite them at some point. This bullpen's going to bite them at some point. Could it be here? What do you think?
They bit him yesterday. I mean, he brings Trinan in, and I turn to the wife. I go, "Oh, there, here he is again." And sure enough, he walks a guy, and then he should have hit the batter with the bases loaded. The batter instinctively moved his leg out of the way, and my wife says, "Why didn't he let it hit him?" I said, "Your entire life, when you're a baseball player, you're trying to avoid getting hit." And after the game, he said, "I made a mistake. I should have let it hit him." And that would have tied the game, and then they still had the bases loaded with the 2 out. But that's the way it is. You can't change your instincts. I mean, he's gone his entire life without trying to get hit, and now all of a sudden it happens. But yeah, to bring Trinan in there, I don't know what he's got naked pictures of the coach or something. I don't understand what it is. But the starter goes 8 innings, walks 0 batters, gives up 1 hit, and the Dodgers still could have maybe lost that game. You do have to have some concerns. Peralta last time did not pitch well. So I would expect a nice bounce back from him. Yamamoto has been great all season long, but we're looking at the Dodgers right now, about the 125 range. Total is 7 to the over, minus 25 or so. There is some 7.5s out there, the same number, about a minus 25 or so. So we're looking at 7.25, according to Steve Fezzik. And should be another really good game here. I do have to point out that when you take a look at this Dodgers lineup, Shohei Ohtani is really struggling right now. And even the best to show, we've seen other players struggle. It's not a good time to do it in the playoffs. We see Kershaw do it all the time, and it's somehow got at least in my opinion, a bad reputation because of it. But it happens. And I said that as soon as Ohtani started pitching, that his hitting would suffer, and it sure has. He's still a hell of a player, the best player, overall player in baseball, but he's not hitting. And yesterday, they made a move where they walked Ohtani to get to Betts. And I saw an article the other day, and I'm terrible about remembering names who posted stuff. But Betts in his life, his entire career, he's got like a 583 batting average when somebody walks before him and they do it intentionally. And they were able to get out of it. And I thought, well, that's a good sign there. And sure enough, it kept him in the ball game. But when your best player isn't hitting and you've got a bullpen that, other than, the normal closer yesterday who didn't pitch well, and that's Sasaki, they've struggled a little bit in that regard. So it's hard to lay that number on the road. But, we've got another great pitcher, and Milwaukee's a guy, and we said it yesterday, and we made a big point about this. If Smith is catching, it really slows down the Milwaukee running game. They had one steal yesterday. If Smith, and plus we don't get anybody on base, you get one hit and 0 walks. It's going to be tough for Milwaukee to score, and they're going against a really good pitcher in Yamamoto today. The park factor is showing home run percent 5% over normal, double and triple 8% less, singles 9% less, and runs 8% less. So we should get probably a lower scoring game here when we're taking a look at the starters in this one on the StatCast. We've got Yamamoto's just been terrific. Comes in with a 2.49 ERA, 2.73 expected, 0.99 whip. He does in the walk rate, 38th percentile. That's the worst thing that he does. Just those 6 pitches. But basically a 4-seamer, about league average, a little bit more better than league average. And he's been very good all season long. So it's tough to find any problems with him. And then when you get to Freddie Peralta, he's also been great, but he's already up 176.2 innings. Last year, 173.2. Prior year, 165.2. So his innings, he's thrown a lot of innings over the last 3 years. Comes in with a 2.70 ERA, 3.47 expected, 1.08 whip. He also has problems with his walk rate, only the 30th percentile, barrel rate 32nd, ground ball 25th. So it could possibly be a situation where the Dodgers get a bloop and a blast, and that may be all they need in this game. I think the line is about where I would make it without looking into any props or anything this early in the morning. It's probably going to be a pass for me. And maybe we get some value on Milwaukee when we go back to LA. They'll be bigger underdogs, and as Milwaukee has shown all year long, they can win on the road as well as they can at home. So that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably at this point sit this one out and look for a bigger number once Milwaukee gets on the road, and especially if they're down 2-0. You would think that the Dodgers, the casual fans that don't normally bet baseball, will play the Dodgers, and maybe we'll get some better numbers there. But today, unfortunately, I don't have much to add.
Yeah, and let me just rephrase. So, I don't disagree with where the game is priced. I make the Brewers personally a very slight favorite here, but I don't disagree with the fact that the books have the Dodgers and Yamamoto a slight favorite. I think that number is fully where I expected it to be. And I still go back to our conversation yesterday. I still think the Dodgers are the best team that's left in the of the 4 teams in the playoffs. Now, I expect this series to be somewhat competitive. I'd be a little bit surprised if the Dodgers just come in and wipe the Brewers out in 4 games. I think that the Milwaukee's gonna win at some point. The reason I make the Brewers a slight favorite here is I am putting a little bit more. I think I'm putting a little bit more stock into a couple things than the books are. First, the fact that they are at home. I give them a little bit more of a bump for that. Second, I don't think the books can quantify Dave Roberts potentially screwing up a game, but I think he's going to screw up a game at some point. And I think the last 2, I mean, the last 2, they were right there to be screwed up, if you will, right? The game against the Phillies going into extras. Yesterday's game, I mean, Bryce Terang, obviously you don't try to get hit by a ball when it's all like you can't even think quick enough to be like, let this hit me. It's just a reflex. But I mean, that ball misses him by inches, and then he swings out a pitch out of the zone the end of the game. Like that could have easily, and the ball hit by Churio was a hard hit to drive the run in. Could have easily been a Brewers win last night. So I do think you're going to see at least 1 or 2 more games in this series that are close games like that. And I'll go back to what I said yesterday. Pat Murphy, I think, is a great manager. I really think that he is. Like, I did not know that this was going to be the case when Counsell went to the Cubs. Murphy takes over the team. I had no idea that what his managerial ability was going to be. He's been great. And so I've said it all playoffs. I really like to handicap the manager, what they're going to do, how they might manage a game, how I think that's going to put their team in either a position to win or to lose. And I just, for the most part, have liked the way Murphy manages his team more than Roberts, who we've talked about for years, is a little bit lost on the in-game side. I don't think Dave Roberts, I'm not going to come in like TB and say he's just trash. I don't think he's a bad manager, but I think what he does well is not X's and O's in game or push the right buttons in game. And that's where, like last night, perfect example. I'm not bringing Roki Sasaki into that game. Why? He's had issues with his confidence during his time in LA. I don't mind bringing him in out of the bullpen in a tie game at home with a 2-1 lead and being like, okay, give us some, let's see how it goes, right? Like that was the situation he came in against the Phillies. Game 4, it was tied. He's throwing, no question, the move to the bullpen has helped Sasaki. He's throwing harder. But on what planet did he just become your closer, right? What have you seen in terms of his mental makeup during his time in LA that suggests that that is your best option with a lead on the road? That was where I was just like, I didn't like that move at all. And it basically did backfire. Like they got away with it, but it, like you said, it pretty much backfired. He couldn't get the save. They then had to use Trinan. So I see a pretty big edge late in this game for the Brewers if they are tied or in the lead. And that's where it goes back to like my handicap of making the Brewers a slight favorite. I don't think Peralta and Yamamoto are that different from a like how I would price them. Mm-hmm. I understand Peralta maybe struggled a little bit against the Cubs, still had 15 strikeouts and 9 2/3. His overall season was very similar. I mean, the guy had a 1.08 ERA, a 2.70 WHIP. Both of these pitchers pitched roughly the same amount of innings during the regular season. Yamamoto's number slightly better, but I think I trust Peralta as the innings get up there a little more than Yamamoto. You know, last year, Yamamoto at the big league level, 90 innings during the regular season, then he pitched in the playoffs. I still think it's far more grueling to pitch here than in Japan. So it's like, you know, we saw the cracks a little bit for Yamamoto against the Phillies. I'm not going to count on him pitching. I'm handicapping this game thinking he's going to throw a good game because he's that good, right? Like I can't count on the Brewers getting to him, but I think it's reasonable to say that Peralta might be able to match him. And then if you get to those late innings, Brewers at home, I would give them a little bit of an edge being at home. Like if this game, Brian, I'll throw this back to you just to get your opinion on the way I'm looking at this. If this game is in the 7th inning or later and it's tied, would you rather have the Dodgers or would you rather have the Brewers like plus 110?
I would agree. I would like the Brewers, especially being at home in that situation. Yeah, which is why I don't have a plan of the game. It's where I met it, and I don't force things. And we're up already 15 units in the baseball playoffs, so I'm not going to force anything. And that's something my clients know. I'm not a guy that, on Monday Night Football, I don't put out Monday Night Football plays unless I see some value in it. It's just the way I am. We're going to grind, and we're the whole key. Well, not the whole key, but one of the major keys when you're sports betting is having the ability to say, the line is right and I don't have a play. And if your handicapper is giving you plays on every game that's on TV, he's not trying to benefit you. And it's been a long time thing for me where I don't make as much money as the other guys do. And it's because I'm not going to force anything. And every company that sells picks has those kind of guys out there. If you want that action, don't choose me.
Yeah, I mean, you could pretty much, like, the fact that we that our thing is baseball just pretty much says that at this point, like, that it's just not as popular as the other sports. But we could go back into yesterday's conversation. It is, I truly believe if you're betting baseball, especially if you can incorporate some of the smaller markets, that's where you're going to win. And I think same thing with college basketball. I think if you can really get into the smaller leagues, you've got an edge. And I think you hockey handicappers, from everything I've heard, and I know nothing about hockey. It is probably one of the more. It's probably. Would you, Brian Leonard? I'm going to ask you a hockey question on a baseball show. Do you think hockey is the most beatable of the pro sports markets?
Definitely, because most people don't like playing favorite or don't like playing underdogs. And yesterday, and a lot of them take a look at shots on goal. Yesterday there was 12 games, 10 games, 12 games. The team that won the game had less shots on goal in all but one game. It means nothing. Shots for Chicago, I think, was outshot like 40, or Toronto's game. They had 40-14 on shots on goal and they lost. When the team takes the lead, they take the air out of the ball. Basically, it's not a hockey fit. Not it doesn't relate to hockey, but they come back and they tip it and they go back to defense. And it's so you have to handicap it totally differently. It's like in baseball, if a team gets more hits than the opposition, normally they're going to win unless the opposition hits more home runs than you do. So, yeah, every sport is different, and it's different ways to handicap. And I love playing underdogs. Yesterday, unfortunately, I didn't have any underdogs anywhere, but we won. But yeah, it's a situation for myself where I like playing the dogs. And in hockey, if you go to a hockey game, if you've ever seen a hockey game before, it can have a beautiful setup. They're passing the puck, and they got the guy set up, and he's just ready to crank on that thing. And he barely touches the puck, and it slides a little bit. It's very hard. It's a much more timing in hockey. It's sort of like baseball with swinging the bat. You got to have great timing. Got to have the great angle.
Well, a little promo for your hockey picks. Again, this is just me polling the all the sharp people I know that bet various sports, and from what I've gathered, it is the league, the pro league, right? If I'm talking about major pro sports: baseball, football, basketball, hockey. It is the pro league that the sharp guys seem to attack. I don't, because I don't know anything about hockey. I couldn't tell you the first thing about the sport. But that's why I bet minor league baseball, Brian. You got to get your edge somewhere, and everyone's edge is a little different. So check Brian out for the hockey. I'm going to go to the comments for a second, see what people are talking about in pertains to this game here. Yeah, Blake Snell was awesome yesterday. Listen, I don't mind. We could talk about like second guessing all day and stuff. Listen, I probably would have let him go out there for the ninth just because it's like he had such a good game going, but he was right at that sort of 103 pitch mark where I understand, especially after the Dodgers got the second run. When I coached 15, 16, 17-year-old baseball at a high level for years. And I always sort of leaned to giving my reliever a clean inning. I didn't like making a mess for my relief. If I knew that I was probably going to go to the pen, I typically wanted to do it at the beginning of the inning. So I'm not going to criticize Roberts for going to the bullpen in that spot. It's easy to say. I know Tokyo Brandon is very on like, how do you take starting pitchers out? How could you do it? The reason you do it, and the reason I have no problem with his decision to take Snell out there, is if you know you're going to do it, and if he puts a guy or two on, and you know you're going to the pen anyway, like, I get like wanting to give the guy a clean inning. I get wanting to give a guy like Roki Sasaki a clean inning, because that's not a guy I'm bringing into a mess. But at the same time, like, I just disagreed with using Sasaki as a closer. I think he's a nice bullpen piece. He's throwing harder, but I'm still putting a more seasoned closer like a Trinan or something into that spot, even though I'd rather have Sasaki throwing the ball right now over Trinan. I just think that there's a different, there's just it's very spot. Now, if that's a 0-0 game in the ninth inning, we'll throw Sasaki in there all day. That's a little bit different. But putting him in with like, okay, now you have to go and win this game and hold on, I didn't like that at all. And it just ties back into today. I think Roberts will he's going to be presented with a decision at some point in this series where it backfires on him. And I think that speaks to the overall sort of Dodgers. They've got a bunch of good arms, but who do you really want in like the big time leverage spot in that bullpen right now? Right? Like,
I had no problem with him bringing Sasaki in. I thought he proved himself before that. He just didn't have it. And it's going to happen. People just don't have it sometimes. The best in the business struggle sometimes. And I talked about Ohtani. So, it's I don't fault him for bringing Sasaki in. I fault him for bringing in Trinan. I wouldn't have even had Trinan on the roster if you ask me.
T. Fox says Milwaukee's a good team. Take the plus money again. Yeah, listen, I think the Brewers probably have as many different ways to win a game. Like, if you look at the four teams that are left, like, I look at the Brewers and say, okay, this team can do it a lot of different ways. That's the one thing I really like about this Brewers team, like, relative to the four teams that are still in it. Mariners, Blue Jays, Dodgers, Brewers. I think the Brewers can win a multitude of different ways. And I love that when it comes to, like, just even go back to the ninth inning, right? Like, they could not hit Blake Snell yesterday. Tip the cap. Blake Snell is a great pitcher. He's an ace. When he's on, he's just straight up nasty. I think he gave up one hit over 8 innings. Like, it was tremendous. I don't fault the Brewers for that at all. Like, you ran into one of the best pitchers in the game who had his best stuff. Tip the cap. No problem with that. Still, ninth inning, they weren't deterred. Every person had a really good at-bat. Even the outs. Even the Churio out was a loud, productive out. Yelich having a good at-bat to continue the game. Contreras having a good at-bat to continue the game. Listen, Terang swung at a tough pitch. Like, it's tough. He was still ahead in that count at one point in time, I think. Or, he still battled up there a little bit. So that's the type of thing that makes me think, like, yeah, you're going to give me plus money with this team at home, backs against the wall. They can win a couple of different ways. Steve Duke says, I'm taking Brewers. No reason to hurry. Imagine everyone will bet Yamamoto. I believe in the Brewers and their lineup. Yeah, I think when you make the statement, I believe in the Brewers and their lineup, that's what you're believing in, is the fact that they've got different ways they can do it. They'll scrap out a hit. They'll move a runner up. They'll knock him in. Brian, has any of these four teams done that better than the Brewers this season?
No, they're the most complete team when it comes to that. And if I find out that Smith caught yesterday, if I find out that they DH him and the line is the same as it is right now, I don't blame a single person for taking Milwaukee, because that's a big part of their game. And when you go up against, unfortunately, just about everybody in the playoffs has got a really good catcher that throws out. The big dumper is great at that. So that's the problem when you get this far into the playoffs. You're going to get teams that are able to do that. So we'll see what happens. If Smith DHs, I have no problem at all playing Milwaukee.
Rick Reynolds says, what separates the Brewers from everyone else is how many different ways they can beat you. Elite defense, elite athleticism. They can hit for power or play small ball, and they don't strike out. I think I think we could honestly substitute some of our guests for the third panelist a lot of times. There's a lot of smart. We there's a lot of smart comments in the chat on a daily basis. It's been that way all season. We very much appreciate all the interaction you guys have given us, and that I couldn't have said it better than Rick Reynolds right there. Like that is exactly how I view the Brewers as well. And that's why I think if you can weather the storm of Yamamoto, which I think Peralta is one of the few guys that I would be okay with weathering the storm with, I think you'll have an edge in the later innings of this game that is greater than like Brewers plus 110. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this. I'm not sure. I haven't bet it yet. I'm not sure if I'll get to the window with this one. As you said, it's really tough to bet postseason baseball every day, 1 or 2 games. The books are really not, they're not making mistakes, but the nice part about playoff baseball is you have so much more money in the market that sometimes the books have no choice, right? They have to price it in a manner that's going to generate the handle that they want to generate. And so I'm kind of with you, Brian. I may wait till lineups here. I don't know. I may bite earlier. I haven't decided yet. If you see a base, I'll tell you what, if you're watching this show, if you see a baseball play up for me today, priced for $5 on $5 Tuesday, it's probably the Brewers. I can't imagine I would bet anything else. I will be sort of thinking about that over the next couple hours, but it's Brewers or pass for me. I'm pretty confident in saying it's Brewers or pass for me in this spot.
Yeah, I just want to touch, it's not a baseball situation, but Brandon's not here today, and it had nothing to do with his comments about Canada. He's not getting death threats over there in Japan, but I will say Blue Jays lose, hockey team loses, and a lot of people in Canada root for the Buffalo Bills because that's the closest team to Canada. Our friends up north are not in a happy mood today, so we'll see how it goes. But no, it has nothing to do with Brandon.
No, TB. Yeah, someone asked in the chat where he is. He had commitments we knew about today and tomorrow, so we will have TB back on Thursday, which I believe is when we'll be back to talking 2 games a day. Quick show today because there was only 1 game. Quick show tomorrow because there's only 1 game. But Brian and Leonard and I will be here to break it down with you. It is $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk, so go check out all of the handicappers pages. From a value standpoint, especially during football season when people are putting football plays up for $5 that are only priced for $5 on Tuesday and then end up going back to full price, definitely something to take advantage of. So check that out on the site, and we will be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. to talk Mariners, Blue Jays Game 3. Until then, have a great day, everyone. Good luck, and we'll see you guys in the morning.
Tuesday night college football. We don't have one game. We don't have two games. We have 3 games, 3 national TV games Tuesday night. And I'm going to give you all 3 games free with free picks and analysis right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. And it must be mid-October because we got Tuesday night college football, and we've got several games to start off this Tuesday night college card. Don't forget, if you're liking these free play videos, all I ask is a thumbs up, like, and I will keep doing these midweek games for you free each and every week here on WagerTalk TV. Smash that thumbs up, like. All right, we're going to go down in start time order. And as I always do, I'll give you the national TV channels as well. And this one is CBS Sports Network at 7 o'clock Eastern. A little Conference USA action. Someone in my neck of the wood, Lynchburg, Virginia. Liberty hosting New Mexico State. A weird trip for New Mexico State for the Aggies here. And not really a short week for either team because they didn't play this past Saturday. It's not like the NFL where they make them turn around on 3 days rest and travel. New Mexico State is very rested, actually. They've been off for 11 days. Liberty did play the weekday game last Wednesday, if you recall, at UTEP, and they won outright as a 2-point road favorite. 19-8, ugly, low-scoring game, and that's not a surprise because they're not a passing offense. Liberty is a run-based attack. In fact, look at the game last week. 47 rushes, only 33 rushes against Old Dominion 2 games ago. 43 carries, 12 pass attempts, still had 3 turnovers. When they haven't turned the ball over this year, they've been successful, and it's really been feast or famine. They've had 3 games with no turnovers, and their other 3 games, they've had 9 turnovers. When you run the ball, though, you're a little less likely to turn it over, and I do think they'll have success running the ball in this game for a few reasons. First of all, that's their offensive attack. They run for 41 carries a game. They only throw about 25 times. And this is an offense that has not run the ball all that successful, but I do think they will have plenty of success and open things up here against New Mexico State. And the other thing that jumps out to me is that New Mexico State is perhaps the worst rush offense in the nation out of 136 Division 1A FBS teams. They run the ball over 20 times a game. They average 35 yards a game. That's about 1.7 yards per rush attempt. They throw for over 215 yards. So it's almost a certainty, a mathematical fact, that Liberty is going to win the rushing attack here and by a substantial number. And I know this isn't your 1990s college football like when I started 29 years ago, when if you could predict the rushing winners, you could really cover the point spread. But it's still a very important indicator because it shows dominance on the line of scrimmage, especially with these lower-level mid-major teams. And Liberty's going to win the rushing attack. It's not even debatable, and I think they're going to win it by several hundred yards. And I also like the fact that they might be able to throw the ball a little bit better in this game as well, as Mexico State has a really bad pass defense, giving up 8 yards a pass against teams that average just 6.4. Now, we just established that New Mexico State wants to throw the ball basically every play for all their yards. Well, guess what Liberty's defensive strength is this year? It's their pass defense. They've been weak against the run, giving up 200 yards a game. That'll be a non-factor here. But they give up just 6.1 yards per pass against teams that average 6.7. So you've got the rushing edge for Liberty, and you've got the matchup edge as well with a strong pass defense. I like Liberty in this game. The Flames, minus the 10.5 to 11. Shop around. Both 10.5s and 11s are out there. Would like it better at minus 10, which is a very key number. I'd say there's a 4 to 5% chance Liberty wins by exactly 10. So you might want to hold off if you got a 10.5, although I do see some 11s out there as of now, so I don't think it's going to drop down to that key number anytime soon. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern for you Tuesday night on CBS Sports Network. All right, next game is on ESPN2, The Deuce. And this is your one Sunbelt game for Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern on The Deuce. Arkansas State traveling to South Alabama, to Mobile, Alabama. And once again, I like the home favorite in this game, and I like the number. South Alabama minus 7. Some spots open 7.5, but it's now 7 across the board. I'm doing this video, by the way, Monday afternoon. Want to get it out nice and early to you by Monday evening, Tuesday morning for you to watch it. And by the way, when you click subscribe, click the bell as well. You will get an instant alert so you know when I'm doing these Tuesday and Wednesday night videos. Going to give you your 2 Wednesday night college football games and a double video as well for this week. Click subscribe, click the bell. You'll never miss out when these are loaded each and every week. And if you're liking them, comment below. If you're liking these weeknight videos, I will keep them coming the rest of the season. And once again, enough thumbs up likes encourages me as well. Like the home team in this game for a few more reasons here. I talked about how Liberty, New Mexico State, I favored Liberty at home, but this line's even more reasonable at that key number of minus 7. And once again, we'll look at the matchup here. Really bad defensive team in Arkansas State, one of the worst defenses in the nation, giving up over 6 yards a carry, almost 9 yards per pass, over 7 yards per play this season, 32 points a game. And South Alabama, once again, a run-based offense, very similar to the Liberty situation. They're okay throwing the ball. They do throw the ball more than Liberty, but they run the ball. That's their primary mode of operation, over 200 yards per game on the ground. And they should have plenty of success against one of the worst rush defenses in the country. And on the flip side, Arkansas State does not run the ball well. They average just 3.6 yards per carry against teams that allow 4.6. And lo and behold, kind of like Liberty, that's been South Alabama's weakness this year, has been a weak run D, but their pass defense has been a little bit stronger. Difference here, though, unlike New Mexico State, that maybe has some backdoor cover potential, and I forgot to mention that. That's my concern in the Liberty game, is that Mexico State could maybe get a garbage touchdown late. Less of a concern here for two reasons. First of all, the line is cheaper at -7 versus 10.5, 11. And Arkansas State does not throw the ball well. They average just 6.6 yards per pass against teams that allow 7.5. So less backdoor cover potential here. I like South Alabama at -7, and that game's at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN2. All right, your final game, we're heading back to Conference USA, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU. Digging deep here for the networks to get all these games on national TV Tuesday night. And this one is Florida International at Western Kentucky. And it doesn't really matter what metrics you use. Florida International, not a good team this season, at least on paper, at 2-3. However, the point spread against a 5-1 Western Kentucky team is pretty short. Probably surprises a lot of people. It's 7.5, 8. Actually opened 8.5. It's now down to 8, even 7.5. There's a little bit of early sharp money coming in the dog here. And I'm going to stay away from the side in this game. I'm going to focus on the total instead. And I do think that's where the value is in this game. From an over-under perspective, I like the under 57.5 between Florida International and Western Kentucky. FIU's problem this year offensively is they don't score points, just 21 points a game, and they're very mediocre both running and throwing the ball. Actually, they're decent running the ball. I shouldn't say that. They're averaging 4.8 yards per carry, 176 rushing yards a game, and I do think they'll have some success on the ground in this one, and that is why we've seen some of the sharp money come in on the underdog here, because Western Kentucky's defensive weakness this year by far has been stopping the run. They're giving up 5.4 yards per carry, almost 200 yards a game against teams that average just 4.3, and they've been a below average running team. So situation, unlike the first two games where I think the home favorites had the rushing edge, this is a situation where we have an underdog that has the rushing advantage, and that more than a touchdown, that always catches my eye. The problem, though, is that FIU does not throw the ball well. They're a terrible passing attack, just 5.8 yards per pass, and Western Kentucky has a really strong pass defense this year, giving up just 6 yards per pass. So that's why I like the under 57.5 in this game. If they're able to establish the run game, I think FIU can hang within the touchdown spread, but that also means it's going to probably be a low-scoring game with the clock running and lack of big plays. And by the way, FIU's defense has been solid this year, despite the fact their offense has struggled. They're giving up just 6.1 yards per play against teams that average 6.2. Western Kentucky averages exactly 6.2, and they've been above average against both the run and the pass statistically. So could say the better defensive team, or maybe the more balanced defensive teams, get more than a touchdown here. My concern, though, is if they get behind, they're going to have trouble catching up. Something we talked about in my NFL videos last week. When that's the situation, you can always shorten the game and take the second half out of the equation. So we could look first half line on Florida International instead at +4.5. You could also even look at a first quarter line if you get those in college football. Early on here, I'm seeing the first quarter line at +3, even a 3.5. I like that. Let's take the first quarter. Florida International +3.5 in a game which they can run the ball, control the line of scrimmage. I think that makes a lot of sense, and it takes that lack of backdoor cover potential out. So FIU plus the 3.5 first quarter, and also under 57.5 full game would be the way I attack your 8 o'clock Eastern game, your third game Tuesday night, that one on ESPNU. Woo, there we go. What a way to start Tuesday night college football. You know, last week I gave you a doubleheader video for the Wednesday games. I know you enjoyed that. I'm planning on doing it again for the 2 Wednesday games this week. But if you were waiting for Tuesday college football, it's here in a bang. 3 national TV games. I broke all 3 down free for you. Hope you found it useful for your own handicapping as well. And comment below, what sides or totals do you like? How are you attacking these Tuesday night games? What's your favorite play on the board for Tuesday night? And hey, include some analysis if you have time. Let's learn and earn and win together here on WagerTalk TV. And there's a lot of Tuesday and Wednesday games coming in the weeks up. We got 2 more next week, 2 more Wednesday games next week as well. If you want me to keep doing these midweek videos for free, all I ask is a positive comment below, and more importantly, just a quick thumbs up like. It takes 2 seconds, and I will keep these weeknight videos coming. Don't forget also your NFL Thursday night videos, 6-1 on free plays Thursday night this year in the NFL. I've got your Thursday prime video for the Steelers-Bengals game as well. I'll also give you the Sunday, Monday night games. And don't forget the big boy videos, college football top 25 Saturday, NFL Fade the Public for Sunday each and every weekend here. So click subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert so you never miss out when free play videos are posted here on WagerTalk TV. By the way, if you want my personal best bets, I'm giving you free analysis, free picks on all these weeknight national TV games. Sometimes they make my best bet card. Most of the time, they're opinions only. My strongest plays are the games I'm personally using each and every day. And it's so simple. If I'm using a play, I send it to my clients. Why not? I'm already doing the work. I've won consistently for over 29 years as a full-time professional handicapper since I started back in August of 1996. So why not share the wealth? If you'd like to get my best bets, it's quite simple. Subscribe at WagerTalk.com. Go to my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And if you've been on the fence, if you've been looking for a good deal, I've got two very special offers, a short-term and a long-term. And keep in mind, whether you get a 1 day, a 1 week, a 1 month, a 1 year, it doesn't matter. Everybody's getting the same plays every day, my personal best bets, just different price points. And obviously the bigger packages get the cost per play down quite a bit and also helps you take a more consistent investment approach. But two special offers here, promo codes on the webpage with full details. A 7-day special for just $69, dude. Normally it's $99. That's an instant $30 discount. Week 30, WEEK 30. You see the info on your screen. Week 30 gets you an instant 30% discount on a 1 week. So you get it for $69. That's 7 days all sports. That's going to get you the baseball playoffs as well. And don't forget the NBA starts next Tuesday. We're a week away from the start of basketball also. So depending on when you sign up for that 7-day, you could get some basketball as well. But if you sign up right now, you get the baseball playoffs for the next week, the NLCS Championship Series, college and pro football every day. 7 days and nights of all sports, all access for just $69 with promo code WEEK30. Or the big boy, big special offer, $500 savings. Who wouldn't love to save $500 and make money every day for the next year? Well, that's what you can do when you get an instant $500 discount on the 1-year all access. That's a true 365-day all access, all sports package when you use promo code, that $500 promo code. And by the way, this is the first time I'm giving it up. So I got to pull it out. Our producer, Dan Alexander, popped it on the screen. I couldn't even remember what it was until Dan popped it on the screen. Let me read it myself. Year 500, because it's a full year. YEAR 500. This is fresh off the hot printing press. This Tuesday video is the first one I've given it to you in. Year 500. It's a good one. 365-day all access, as you see on your screen, with an instant $500 discount. That gets it down to just a few dollars a play, about $1.50 a play for every college and pro football, basketball, and baseball best bet for the next 365 days and nights. Promo code year500 for an instant $500 discount. What you do is you go to my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. On the right-hand side, you'll see all the subscriptions. In the All Sport All Access drop-down, you'll see the 1 week, 7-day. Use promo code WEEK30 for the $30 discount. Or if you want the 1-year All Access, use promo code year500 like you see on your screen at checkout. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And oh, by the way, get there quicker. That shortcut you also see on your screen, wt.buzz/SM. While you're there, check out the bonus free plays. I've got an advanced NFL free play for this Sunday, locked and loaded right now for everybody. And that's how I roll. Last cuts from my best bet cards go up as free opinions. I put them in some of these videos for you. And I also put bonus free plays on the page. I've got an advanced NFL best bet for this Sunday, which I want you to get early because I think the line will move. And also have a bonus free play for this Sunday right now. So it might be talking Tuesday college football, but never too early to start getting ready for NFL Sunday. And that's available right now on my page as well. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker, wt.buzz/SM. One final note, you see in the bottom corner there, at Steve Merrill. That's my handle on X and Instagram, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL. Follow me on X and Instagram, at Steve Merrill. And stay tuned here to WagerTalk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up, including your Thursday night prime game between the Steelers and Bengals. Also, both those Wednesday college football games. Tons of free play videos coming up next, right here on WagerTalk TV.
Welcome into Drew's Daily Diamonds for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. I am Drew Martin breaking down the college football slate. We got college football bets coming your way. Let me know in the comments below where you agree, where you disagree, your picks for tonight in any sport. All is welcome in the YouTube comments below. Smash that like button if you're liking the content. As we got first game up, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific on CBS Sports Network. New Mexico State and Liberty, the Conference USA battle here with the Liberty Flames minus 10.5 as the home favorite, 45 and a hook being the total, low total here in college football. Does look to be 49 degrees, clear skies in Lynchburg, Virginia. And we first got to start with, it's Tuesday night football. How are these teams coming in? And sure enough, it's drastic differences in terms of time of preparation. New Mexico State had 12 days off before kickoff, whereas Liberty has only 6 days off. You might remember they played last Wednesday in El Paso against UTEP. They did win that game, but having to travel back to Lynchburg, Virginia from El Paso, Texas, and a short week, plus the fact doing research for this, they ended up staying in El Paso the night after the game, which is very rare for college football. So even like one less day at home. Liberty comes in 2-4 on the year. New Mexico State 3-2. Sidewise, I think it's tough. I really do, guys, because I was looking to be on Liberty. They're getting a little bit healthier right now. They got their quarterback, Ethan Vasco, back behind center. But this number's a little bit taller than I would have thought. I thought it was going to be about a touchdown here. And New Mexico State, they've been pretty decent. They lost a lot of players, 2 years ago to Vanderbilt, but they actually haven't fallen off a cliff. They lost to Louisiana Tech. That's a pretty good Bulldogs team. They lost in the state rivalry against New Mexico. But, they did beat Tulsa. They beat Sam Houston State. Their defense does have some injuries. That needs to be said. But, passing the football, this is the number 2 passing offense in Conference USA. And for the Flames here playing at home, their quarterback, Ethan Vasco, he came back into the game. Their offense looked better against UTEP. But the couple games before that, they had their backup in, who I believe is just a redshirt freshman, Merdinger. He actually went to the same high school I did, obviously a lot younger. Side note, I believe he's the first, or I read that he is believed to be the first Israeli-born player to play in FBS football. Thought that was interesting. But with Vasco back into the lineup, I think that they're actually a lot better on offense than their numbers are saying. We got to remember a couple of those games were against Old Dominion and JMU. Those two teams are going to be in the hunt for the Sun Belt Championship. Strong defenses. They're taking a step down in class here against New Mexico State. Liberty's getting healthier on the offensive end as well. I think they're going to put up points, and they've kind of, at times struggled against the pass, and New Mexico State can throw it around. I think this 45 and a hook is hanging a little low, guys. I think this gets into the 50s. Again, clear skies in Lynchburg. The short week as well for Liberty to prepare for New Mexico State. I think both teams punch it in the end zone enough here. We're going over 45 and a half for the first game up on Tuesday night. Guys, a reminder, if you could comment below, it helps grow the show. Anything more than welcome in the YouTube comments down there. Smashing that like button helps as well. If you're interested in premium picks, check them out. WagerTalk.com, experts page, Drew Martin. Do have a 4% college football best bet. It's in the Arkansas State South Alabama game. And with $5 Tuesday, you can pick that up for just $5. Like a lot in that game. So we're going to skip that one for the clients here. And we're going to go to the nightcap. For the nightcap of the show, 8 o'clock Eastern here on ESPNU. Both games nationally televised. FIU and Western Kentucky. Back to Conference USA here. 57 and a hook being the total. We are seeing the Hilltoppers split line right now, -7.5 or -8 as the home favorite. Do need to state I'm doing this early Monday morning. So if the lines change, that's what I'm handicapping it off of. WKU -7.5 or -8. Does look like 50 degrees and clear skies in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Western Kentucky comes in 5-1 on the season, both straight up and against the spread. FIU just 2-3 in their first year under head coach Willie Simmons. Look, they got a really good running game, or I guess I should pump the brakes a little bit. Maybe not really good, but for Conference USA, the number one running game in the conference. The problem is they're second to last in stopping the pass. So defensively, they've really struggled. And the angle I'm going after in this one is Western Kentucky's pretty much the exact opposite. With FIU running the football, Western Kentucky's rush defense is second to last in Conference USA. And Western Kentucky has the best passing offense in Conference USA to go up against FIU's second to last pass defense. So this is kind of strength on weakness for both sides here, which I think leads into a lot of points. You know, we get Tyson Helton as the head coach here for the Hilltoppers. We know he likes offense. Their quarterback, Maverick MacGyver, one of the best names in college football. He's leading the conference, obviously, in passing yards. He's been lighting it up. The last time these two teams played, 41-28 was the final score, well over this number. 50 degrees, clear skies, guys. I think we get some points here. I think this gets into the 60s and beyond. We're going to go FIU, Western Kentucky, over 57.5. The best bet for the show is the first game, New Mexico State and Liberty, over 55.5. Guys, that does it for Tuesday's show. Make sure to check out WagerTalk.com for the $5 Tuesday, 4% college football big bet in Arkansas State and South Alabama. I am Drew Martin checking out for Tuesday's show. Comment below, smash that like button, cash those tickets. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in.
What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. We are happy to have you, whether you're watching live or afterwards. And we're here to break down a ton of games with you. Myself, Andrew McGinnis, Carmine Bianco, and today, not one, but two guests as the Prez returns. And we have Don Buster joining us to break things down. We got a ton of games to go over. It's a busy slate. I think 8 games. Don't quote me to it, but it's going to be a really good day in the NHL. Hope you guys enjoyed the day games yesterday in hockey. A little bit weird, Carm, to have 1 p.m. Eastern starts. We had some 9:30 a.m., I think, starts in Pacific time on a Monday morning. But, hey, you never know with the NHL. Carm, how you doing, man?
Yeah, it was Columbus Day, man. That's why the early starts. It's the one day where we celebrate Italians. We should celebrate Italians every single day, especially today because they need to win against Israel in soccer. And funny enough, we have Lawrence coming on the show today, so maybe it'll be him versus I on a lunch bet. But road teams 7-3 last night, Andrew. Dogs 5-5, and the over/under went 5-5. So road teams were definitely live. The first 5 games of the day all went to road teams. So and Andrew, we talk about before we get present here, like bounces that go your way and don't go your way. I had like the over yesterday in the Columbus game at home. It was a dead under the whole way, and then somehow towards the end of the game, I almost had a chance. I got an empty netter, and then I got a Columbus goal, and then New Jersey hit the goalpost with 20 seconds left for which would have been another empty netter, and I would have ended up with a push. I got a loss. I move on to today, but it's $5 Tuesday today at WagerTalk. All cappers should have $5 plays with some great promos inside of them. But yeah, big show today, guys. We're covering 5 games on today's card. Buster will do Nashville, Toronto. Andrew and I will do Seattle, Montreal, Rangers, Oilers, Dallas Mini. I'm going to have a bankroll bet for you. See if we can double up after yesterday's win with the underdog St. Louis Blues. But bring it in. Let's bring him in, man. The one, the only, the Prez.
Yo, boys.
What's up, Prez?
Nothing much. I do have good news for Carmen, the Italian soccer side. Even if Israel wins, the rest of the world will still decide they lost. So you're in a win-win scenario here. So no worries.
What did I start?
Beating Israel seems to be an easy thing to do these days.
How are you feeling today?
Raphael writes, you bozos got every bet wrong. I better asking my grandmother. It really reminds me of the question, Andrew, who's the stupid person or the person who listens to the stupid person? Raphael Cohen thinks his grandmother is better to ask, and yet he took time out of his day to join this show when he could have just called his grandmother on the phone, maybe even give his grandmother some love. I'd like to send some love to Raphael Cohen's grandmother. Love to you, Raph.
And Carm hit his bankroll play. Carm crushed it with the Blues. So I don't know what.
And then Pocket Surprise decides that I'm an idiot because the Florida Panthers game didn't go under last night, even though it was 2-1 with 5 minutes to go in the game. I'm a moron. Anyway, what's going on, brother? What do you? We got some picks to give out.
Yeah, we put good old Raphael Cohen on a timeout, so he'll enjoy 5 minutes of just watching and listening to us bozos talk about the.
Go call his bloody grandmother, man.
It's all good. Listen, we love the Pucksters who tune in each and every day. Some of them are going to be upset. Some of them aren't. We're never going to get everything right, and our premium plays are over at WagerTalk, but sometimes those hit. And sometimes they will lose. It is the game. You can't account for empty net goals. You know what I mean? They win against you yesterday, and it's happened to you a couple times. 2 empty netters.
This year, correct.
Sometimes you don't even get 1 empty netter when you need it. Getting 2 against you when you don't want them is absolutely worse. But those are the bad beats that happen. But hey. I'm just going to, Andrew, I'm going to toot my horn before I go to Prez here. I'm going to do it one time. If you guys watched last call on WagerTalk last night, I told you guys, and I recorded a free play video, the Chicago Bears, plus the points and the money line. Sprinkle the money line. The Bears would get the revenge victory, and they got it done with Caleb Williams, 25-24. Second game between these two decided on the last play of the game. But with that said, Tampa Bay Lightning, Washington Capitals, Prez. This one is a good one. Washington -115, Tampa -105. Total sits here at 6. How are you playing this one?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I want to bet the unders in Washington games. And I want to bet the unders in Tampa Bay games. Tampa Bay is going to have an outstanding defense and goals against when all said and done. With that said, Tampa Bay's played 3 games this year, 4-3, 3-5, 4-5. Hard to bet the unders. And on top of that, I spoke to Andrew last night about betting the unders, and, it might be 2-1 with 3 minutes to go. And then it becomes 5-2. And then you log on to a show the next day and get balled out by people. So I'm not going to touch the under in this game, but that is the right play. I think the bet here is on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think Washington, it's going to be interesting to see how good this Washington team is. They've won their last 2 games, 1-0 against the Rangers, 4-2 against the Islanders. They did lose to Boston. I don't think this Washington team is as good as they were last year. I think they're going to regress. And I think the Lightning team might end up being sneaky, one of the best teams in all of hockey, if not the best. I think this Lightning team is going to be a real tough out all year long. And this Lightning team can play any style of play. They can beat you 2-1. They can beat you 6-5. I think the right bet here is Tampa Bay. I would take the under, but I am so gun shy on unders right now. It's unbelievable. And yes, Washington, Prez 100% wrong on the Caps again. You want to know how many times I bet against the Caps last year? 0 amount of times.
Really? That's awesome.
I don't.
That's
you asked me to
They
talk
had a
about
great
this
year.
game. You
They
asked
had a
me to
great
talk
year.
about this game. You know, I think
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is the right play, but I'm not betting this game.
I think so too. And to your point, I want to follow up with you. You know, I mean, like last year, everything with Washington, obviously a new coach, they played extremely well.
Lined up.
But all the hype was around Ovechkin and getting that record, and you just wonder. I know that shouldn't regress a team the following year, but it's so hard for them to follow up what they did last year. This year, you have to figure that they're going to be favored in some spots in which the number has been adjusted just maybe 10, 15 cents too high.
Yeah. Well, and I think this, but I think this line is fairly right. I mean, this is a tough game, Carm. You know, and Washington's going to play to the under. Tampa Bay can put up 4 goals against anybody. This is a tough game, right, from my perspective. But I think it's a game that we're going to see how good or bad Washington is. It's a nice measuring stick game for the Capitals.
Yeah. Okay, Prez. I think Andrew's got a promo, so I will.
Yes.
Yeah, Prez, look, first of all, appreciate you coming on my show last night. A lot of people that are watching right now hopefully have tuned in at some point, but got a promo code, promo for both of us. No promo code needed. It's a special 3 days of NHL combo package. So it's the perfect couple days. People can dip their toes in the water. You and I were 1 and 2 last year in the regular season. You were number 1. Combined together, we earned over 50 units of profit. So 3 days, guys, to test the waters. You go to Prez's profile page. You go to my profile page. You can get this special 3 days of every single hockey play we release. Could be a side, could be a total, could be a prop, but everything we release all in one package, Prez. So there we go.
Yeah, and Andrew, you know, I had a horrible day yesterday. I went 0-3 in NHL, and I think it's a good time to bet me. You know, a lot of my I'm seeing it right. You take Toronto in regulation, they put up 30 more shots than the other team. You make the right call, you get bad bounces. I feel like I'm seeing it right. So it might be a good time to jump on. As for Jack Korach, Capitals under 2.5, I think that's a reasonable bet tonight. I think the Capitals under 2.5 is a reasonable bet on that game.
All right, Prez.
Yeah, and Prez, I'm not here to make you feel any better, but I have a Wings fan, and even he said to me after the game, he goes, "Man, we stole that game."
Oh yeah,
in Toronto, they stole it.
But it happens, Carm. This stuff happens.
It does. It happens all season long. It makes it worse when we're betting on the games, and you see like a goalie who, figuratively stands on his head. And you just can't beat him. And you're like, oh, I just can't believe this. He plays one of his best games, and then the next game he allows 5 goals. And
yeah,
like,
that's how it's going down, bro. That's how that's going down. But I think the Leafs tonight -1.5 might be an interesting play. I feel like they played really, really good last night. They just had bad puck luck, and I think Nashville's in a bad spot. Anyway, thanks for having me, guys.
Before you go, what do you have up at WagerTalk on $5 Tuesdays?
Well, I got one NHL play up, and I've got one college football 4% play, and these 4% plays are very rare for me. I have only had about 40 all year, and I'm 64% in them. So I got a 4% college football play and one NHL play. And I do have a 5% play in NFL, but it is not up yet.
All right. Listen, best of luck to you. And
thanks
for coming on. And hopefully you recover soon from that injury. It's going to take a while.
I can't even move my right arm. Like I'm literally stuck. Anyway, be good, everyone.
Right. Yeah, Press.
Last night, I was on painkillers, everything, dude. By the time your show started, I was falling apart, bro.
Well, I appreciate you being there. I appreciate you being there.
As I said to Vivian, I got to do this for Andrew, man. I got to do this for Andrew. I had
It
to be
means a lot.
carried down the stairs, bro. Okay. Ciao,
Thanks,
guys.
Prez. Thanks.
All right, take care.
Yeah. And guys, once again,
Yeah,
3 days, Prez and I together, one package. Usually we do like week-long packages together 1 month, but this one, I think, Carm, is the ultimate dip your toes in the water combo package. And me and you will definitely get some going together as well. 3 days, guys. If you're interested, my NHL plays and Prez NHL plays. It's 3 days for the price of one. Yeah, great combo pack, $59. You're going to get all of our plays together. So, yeah, you know what, Carm? I mean, you've done my show already. It is late for people. And the fact that he had a busy day yesterday, came on the show, it was pretty good. But, you know, we've had so many games so far. And you talked about the road teams. And I think it correlates yesterday. I was talking a little bit about the home openers. And that leads us towards a home opener tonight for a game I'm going to have my eyes on. But some of these teams, they haven't looked great in their home openers so far.
No, they haven't. The Ottawa Senators looked absolutely terrible. I had like in the early action, I had like a 2% play on Colorado in regulation. They got the job done against the Woeful Sabres, who can't score goals right now. And regulation bet on Ottawa because I thought the money line was a little higher than I want to play. But you know, even with like I said, even with that said, it's a discipline problem with Ottawa. They're just taking stupid penalties. Andrew, you know, I look at this one and I know you're a Canadiens fan, and we have another Montreal Canadiens fan coming up after we preview this show in Don Buster. But minus 155 for Montreal, plus 135 for Seattle. The total sits here at 6. I'm just going to say this, Andrew. I don't want to lay $1.55 with Montreal, only because the Seattle Kraken are one of those teams, you know what I mean, and that somehow they get on the road sometimes and they make these East Coast trips and they just win games. You know what I mean? They've started the season 2-0. They beat the Anaheim Ducks 3-1. And then they beat the Vegas Golden Knights in OT 2-1 as well too. So they're unbeaten at this point, and they hit the road for an East Coast road trip. They're like plus 135. I know you hate for me to say this, but I almost feel like they are a live dog at this one. I might hang around and wait to see if some Montreal money comes in. You know what I mean? Like and if it does, maybe I get a better price on Seattle. I'm looking at the odds logic numbers right now on this Seattle game, and I think the best price I see right now is at circa plus 136 on the Seattle Kraken. I think some Seattle money has come in because I'm seeing like 130s now across the board, plus 130s across the board, plus 129 at and plus 122 was the opener. So Andrew, I'm sorry, man. I'm going with Seattle Kraken tonight. Released for our man. Remember our man, was it Raven Ron or whatever?
Yeah.
Release the Kraken.
You know, Carm, look, everything that I've seen so far, it definitely does make sense. And I've said this on multiple shows, that these home openers have not gone well for teams. It's almost like it's a distraction. You know, Montreal Canadian fans are going to be super excited because yesterday Lane Hudson agreed to a very, very team-friendly deal at $8.85 million. Some thought he was going to sign for 9 or 9.5 or even 10. So 8.85 is really solid. The building's going to be buzzing. They're off to a 2-1 start. It could be a bit of a distraction, Carm. There's no denying it. Overall, the Montreal Canadiens have not done well against the Seattle Kraken in their existence, but the last 2 games against them, one of them was 8-2. And that was the last game on home ice. They got embarrassed. I mean, imagine losing 8-2 against the Kraken. Like, at least have a good team beat you 8-2, but the Kraken 8-2, that's kind of tough to look at. So I definitely get where you're coming from, because there's going to be some spots where the Canadiens are a little bit overpriced. But I'll tell you, as a fan, I don't have a play on the side here. These are the games they have to win. They've got the Kraken. They've got the Predators this week. They need to get those wins piled up against non-playoff teams. I'm going to take the easy way out, Carm, and take a total bet for you. And I'm going to tell you that in all 3 games the Montreal Canadiens have played this season, the first period over has hit. And I do think the Kraken get on the board in the first period. And I think both teams could score in the first period, however. But this is the Montreal Canadiens team that has more offense this year than they had last year. You know, Nick Suzuki, Carm, through 3 goals, he doesn't have one. Through 3 games, doesn't have 1 goal, not one. And this team put up 5 goals against Detroit and 3 goals against Chicago. The team's got more depth with Kapanen, with Demidov, and Bolduc has 3 goals in 3 games. The guy they traded for from St. Louis. So first period over for me. Guys, I'm staying off the side. You can take the side play from Carmine, but I do like that first period over. This is a trend that I kind of saw from the beginning of the year in that Leafs game. Fast starts from the Montreal Canadiens. Hopefully it keeps on going here, Carm.
Yeah, I'm a little just surprised that, Andrew, that you're disrespecting the Seattle Kraken. I think they're a lot better than what you projected there. So I'm going to go at you at this one. Now, they could lose tonight, and for the sake of you and your fandom for them, best of luck to you. But, this is a team, you don't see bad teams go on the road and win 8 games like they did. And that 8-game road trip ended with a 3-0 victory against the Boston Bruins, who were having a breakout year. That goes back 2 years, not last year. But the Seattle Kraken have proven that they can win on the road. Decent start for them. The game against the Vegas Golden Knights, and I'm not sure if that's the Knights losing or the Kraken winning in that one, but they kept them to a goal in that game. They kept Anaheim basically to a goal in their game. So we'll see what they do here when you hit the road. Sometimes that first game on the road is the most important one of a road trip. You want to get off to a winning start. So we'll see. I'm willing to take the plus money here with the Kraken and see how it works out. Now, he wasn't available last week, but he is here this week. He's going to break down the Nashville-Toronto game. Mexico no longer wants him. They kicked them out. It might have been the Mexican ice that got rid of him. Here he is, none other than Don Buster. Buster, oh, thank God you don't have that god-awful, ugly background. Oh, my eyes, thank you.
What's up, Buster?
Thank you.
Hey, guys, how's it going? I tell you, I've been loving the show so far. Last week I was watching what I could. I like the format. Great format. I know what you did with that format, too. Very genius by whoever made this format up. So it helps in a lot of ways, which we will not discuss, but we all know inside what we're doing here.
Even things sharp.
Producer Dan knows everything, so he knows.
He's a wise man, that Dan. He's a wise man. Yes.
Yeah, he moved to California, became a hippie. He's on the beach every single day, but he knows what he is doing day in and day out.
Oh, so that's him on Muscle Beach with the long flowing locks and all that, eh? Okay.
Yes, it is.
No, it's Photoshop. Photoshop. That's not him.
So, Buster.
Okay, guys. Yeah. I'll break down this play here.
Yeah, Leafs minus 185 here. Nashville's plus 160. The total sits here at 6. Tell Andrew and I how you were breaking this one down.
Okay, well, I actually saw it opened up around 220. I know that it was around. I saw 190. I didn't see any 6s. I saw 6.5 everywhere for the total. But anyways, I will break this down. Both these teams, as everyone knows, well, maybe not everyone, so that's why I'm going to give you that information. They both played yesterday afternoon. Nashville winning in Ottawa and the Leafs losing in Detroit. I know you guys have been talking about that earlier. I'm just going to, just if you looked at what happened yesterday. Ottawa, I thought, Carmine, outplayed Nashville for the first couple of periods, and then they just couldn't get anything done. But you know what? They had no answer for Jussi Soros. And it happens. You guys just mentioned. Same thing happened to Toronto yesterday. As the Leafs, they dominated that game. They outshot Detroit 40-15. They lose on that late goal, 3-2. And as you guys have mentioned, those things happen in the NHL. Unfortunately, you hope to be on the right side of those things and not the wrong side. And it sounded like me and Carmine were on the wrong side of that Ottawa in regulation. what I believe is a big plus for Toronto tonight. They're not going to have to face UC Soros tonight, so that's a plus. Both teams, like I said, are on a back-to-back, but I believe Toronto is in the better situation, even just getting to stay at home. I know it's a short flight from Ottawa, but still, I believe Toronto is in a better situation here. But it looks like a lot of people maybe not agree with me because, like I said, that line opened at 220. It's down to 190. Carmine said it's like 185 now even. So they're betting Nashville. I know Nashville hasn't lost a game in regulation, but truthfully, I'm not too impressed with them. The reason I believe that Toronto's getting, bet against maybe a bit is because, Caden Primo's going to start tonight. But, me and Andrew know that he can be very serviceable goalie here. He can be decent. Yeah, he can be a stiff, but he can be pretty decent. And, for that reason, I think the Leafs will try to play behind him a bit. They'll try. I think they might do the exact same thing that they did yesterday in Detroit. I think they'll play a little bit more defense than they have in a bit now. And you'll have to say, I know it's early in the season. People say, Buster, it's too early. But the Leafs are a desperate team to win this one, if you ask me. They're at home, and they do well at home. They've lost those 2 games to Detroit. It's not the way you want to start, especially if you're Toronto now that you don't have Marner and you're going in a different, not in a different direction, but you really want to not go 1-2 to start the season. That's for sure when a couple of games have been at home. But for me, I'm not going to lay the 195, 185, whatever it is right now. I've actually already gave my clients Toronto. I like Toronto in regulation here. I think they end up doing what they did yesterday, except for maybe having a little bit better puck luck here today. And you get regulation line for minus 130. So I think that's a pretty good play. And of course, coming on here, I also have to break down the total for everybody that wants to, bet the total. I'll break it down and I've took a look at it myself. Actually, normally I'd be playing the over in this right away because both teams played yesterday, less than 24 hours, backup goaltenders, all that. But like I say, Karen said 6 for the total. I seen 6.5 everywhere. I never saw any 6. And at 6.5, I do like it. I do lean to the under 6.5 here. I just think Toronto's going to try to, like I said earlier, kind of back Primo. They're going to maybe be a little bit more defensive today. But here's the thing. When you're betting overs, and everything, we know it's early in the season. But what you do count on, you don't count on 5-on-5 goals. You count on a few power play goals as well. Nashville's 1-15 on the power play this year. And the Leafs, they haven't scored a power play goal in 3 games. They're 0-6. So, yes, that can turn around. But for me, especially at that 6.5 number, I do lean on the under. But my play is going to be Toronto in regulation minus 130.
All right, Andrew, Buster's hangout. Don't leave just yet, Andrew. How many times?
Oh yeah, no.
And God bless Buster. Because I love this comment from him. Sometimes you can be a stiff, he says about kids. I've never used that in any of my analysis, but I actually love that because it is true. It kind of reminds me of, and I'm not saying that Caden Primo is a reincarnation of Red Light Rasico, but any of you old guys that remember the former goalie Rasico, they called him Red Light Rasico because the back of his neck was red from that light.
Tough nickname.
So many goals scored on him. Let's see. It could be Red Light Caden Primo tonight, or
let's hope not.
Justin Annunen. So we'll see how that one goes.
It's funny, Carmine, that you don't use that. I actually use that sometimes when I write up my analogy, when I put in my analyst for the games. I mean, that's an old saying, and you're a lot older than I am. So, I mean, using the word stiff, you should be using that. That was an old saying back in the day. Oh, he played like a stiff, So I'm surprised.
Buster, would you agree with me? do you like just it's that much more important almost that one team's off a loss, one team's off a win? Like I know that's not automatic, but especially with it being like Nashville, like would you say it helps your case? Like, do you like it a lot more because they're off that win and one team's off a loss they probably should have won? When I look at that game, immediately, if I wanted to bet the Leafs, like I was like, when I saw the Leafs were losing, I was almost hoping that the Nashville Predators would win their game, so that way you can kind of have one happy team and one pissed off team.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that sets in. But again, I think it's both teams being at home. And just, again, Andrew, me and you are the same way. Watch a lot of hockey and just eye test it. I know, and I've said it 3 or 4 times. I'll say it again. It's early when you're talking about this stuff, but just watching the eye test, I'm not really impressed with that Nashville at all. And again, yesterday they win, but you see the final score, 4-1. Oh, they must have killed on them. No, they put 2 empty net goals in. It was 2-1. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to take those in consideration. And I think the Leafs are a little bit desperate. Yeah, they have Primo in net, and I really believe that they will play like yesterday. I could see like a 3 or 4-1 victory for Toronto today. But yeah, I think it does come into play that Nashville did win. But even if they would have lost, I would have been on Toronto here because of Toronto losing more than anything.
All right. Buster, tell us what you have up on $5 Tuesdays over at WagerTalk.
Okay, yeah, today, of course, it's $5 Tuesday. I've actually put up a 4% ML Major League Baseball best bet. I've had 6 straight winners on $5 Tuesday with these 4% MLB best bets, going for number 7. So you can go over the site and grab that. And also there's lots of great deals in that package that WagerTalk has for everyone. And those deals are expiring, I believe, tonight at midnight. So you want to grab those as well. And for myself, the powers that be, actually Melissa, very kind, did a great job on a little promo for me. You can get our NHL, all our NHL for 2 weeks for only $99. And that includes all 5% plays. So that expires on Sunday. So you want to grab that. That's a great deal for $99. And that way, you've most of the guys have seen me on here for years and know how I break down things. But for the newer people that are watching the show, you can see how I write up the analysis and how I'm thinking on the way of hockey. And it's a pretty cheap way to do it. $99 for 2 weeks of my NHL picks. And,
all right, best of luck.
Thanks. I just want to thank you guys for having me on. Appreciate it. Yeah, whenever you need me to come on, if I can do it, I'll be here.
We will see you on Thursday, Buster. Go and have your warm glass of milk. Take a nap on the couch and watch some afternoon World Cup soccer before the NHL cards get.
The price
going.
is right. The Price is Right coming
right.
on.
Yeah, the Price is Right. So, Andrew, let's look at this Oilers-Rangers game. The Oilers minus 137 on the road. The Rangers plus 117 at home. Total sits here at 6. Rangers playing some pretty good D, you got to admit, since that opening loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've played some pretty good D. The whole Mike Sullivan thing, I thought the Rangers would be better this year. They've looked better, even though they lost 1-0 to Washington. That was still a very good performance by them defensively. What are your thoughts on this one?
Carm, when I look at this game, I think it's a little bit of it's interesting. Me and Prez talked about this last night, and I'm looking at the Rangers scores right now so far this season. You did mention that they have, of course, had that good defensive game, even though they lost 1-0 against the Capitals, which I can be impressed by. But the 6-1 victory over the Penguins doesn't mean too much to me. It was a response. It was a bounce back. It was a rapid revenge, whatever you want to call it. And then the other game was against the Sabres. So, they don't score. They get shut out, but they play well defensively against the Capitals. But other than that, they haven't really played an elite team yet. They have not played an elite team yet, I would say. Elite teams as far as the top of the top. I mean, obviously the Oilers just went to the Stanley Cup Finals in back-to-back years. So this Rangers team, I feel like, is going to be a very good team against middle of the pack or bottom of the pack teams. I think this is where they're going to struggle, is against top class opponents. This is where I think they'll struggle. I think that the Rangers are built to play in unders. It's no secret that, some games that so far this year that have been, they're 3-1 to the under so far. And the game that they hit the over, they pretty much hit it on their own by putting up a 6 spot. I think the teams that are better than them are going to dictate the pace, and they're going to lead towards the over. And it was a great point. Preds brought that up to me yesterday, saying, the New York Rangers, they'd like to be in low-scoring games, but if not, it's going to be hard for them. So I do lean towards the Edmonton side in this one, strictly because I don't really find myself trusting the New York Rangers to participate in games like this. Now, I think the theory is like 0 for 2 or 0 for 3 on me playing these so far. But if you are interested, guys, in the theory, you can look at the over 1.5 first period, because they are coming off a shutout, and they did lose 1-0 in the last one. Carm, I do have a prop for us here in this one. I think it's a pretty good price here, plus 145. This one's kind of interesting. Bringing up daily face-off here. David Tomasek. He's on the first power play unit, but funny enough, he is on the third line for the Edmonton Oilers. So, he's not really a guy that you're going to get that many points from when you're talking about even 5-on-5. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the power play point props become available. They actually have. All right, this is worth a sprinkle here, guys. Plus 380. Plus 380 for this guy, because he's on the third line, sometimes even fourth line for the Edmonton Oilers, 5-on-5 here, Carm. But they trust his abilities and his talent that they have him on the first power play unit. He reminds me kind of what they're doing with the Habs and Patrick Laine, or what they did with him last year. It's like, hey, we don't have you in the top 6 5-on-5, but we've got you on the first power play unit. And you know how it goes. Thomas Nosek, Tomasek could pass the puck to McDavid or Bouchard or Draisaitl, and those guys could make something happen. And all of a sudden, he gets an assist to get the power play point. So we've got plus 380 as far as the power play point is concerned. And once again, a really good price still as well, with the plus 150 or plus 145 on the anytime point. So Carm, lean to the Oilers side, but I really wanted to bring this up because I was doing my work here, and I just saw the fact that he's not really up high on the regular 5-on-5 depth chart, but they must love his skill abilities in the power play, because he's right there on the first power play unit. Plus 380, not a bad price tag.
No, it's not a bad price at all either, Andrew. I don't have a very good feel on this game, even though I know I did put it on the schedule here for us. I just think that they're 0-2 at home. And I'm sorry, guys, that chirping in the background, that bird. I'm going to give some seeds in a second, Andrew, as I go back to you. But the Rangers are 0-2 at home with 2 shutout losses. So I'm going to take the Rangers plus 117. And I'm going to go to you for the next game while I try and quiet this little guy down.
You know what? That's a good point, Carmen. I didn't bring that up. I didn't think of that. So that's a really good one. Willow is absolutely loving it. Timothy, everybody's getting a good laugh. Hey, as long as you guys can get a good laugh about it, then it's all good. You love to see it. Yeah, I didn't think about that. It's actually a great point there by Carm, because both games at home, they look horrible at Madison Square Garden. And then, of course, both games they've gone on the road, they looked really well. So the Rangers, 2-2 to start the season off here. But they've looked abysmal at home and really good on the road. So we'll see, guys, if that streak gets snapped or if that continues here. Because if you're a New York Rangers fan right now, you almost want them to stay on the road. That's where they're playing their best hockey. But maybe it's just the spots. Maybe it's just the teams that they've been looking at. So good point there. But guys, I love those numbers. Plus 380, plus 150. Let's ride with that one. All right, Dallas and Minnesota. Let's jump into that one here and look at this matchup. Shout out to Minnesota, because Minnesota helped me cash an over 5.5 ticket yesterday. And you know what? They got off to not 1, not 2, but 3 power play goals in the first period. When you have an over 5.5 and you get 3 goals in the first period, typically you're looking pretty good, but it was 3-2 late in the game. LA ties it up, and then Minnesota ends up winning that one in a shootout. So second half of a back-to-back here for Minnesota. Prez and I on my show last night, the pre-scout, we were talking about how Minnesota is such a defensive team at its soul. I mean, they are really a team overall that will bring defense everywhere they go. But here's the deal with this Dallas team. I mean, they're going to overwhelm everybody with their offensive ability. And one thing about Dallas is, well, they're pretty rested. They've played 2 games so far this season. Some teams have played 4 games. They played the Jets, in which they won 5-4, and they played the Avalanche, in which they won 5-4. So, I mean, looking at a combined 10 goals, sure, they've given up a combined 8 goals, but this team's offense is just so dangerous. Look, I like the Minnesota Wild. Mostly when I'm betting on them, Carm, I want to be betting on them when they're at home. So I'm not sure if I'll get to the window. I'm not sure how I'll play this game quite yet, but I'm looking towards the Dallas Stars side here, guys. Again, this is a home opener. We've talked about it, the early trends. This isn't anything dating back to a while ago. This is just this season. Home openers haven't exactly gone well for teams quite yet. So maybe you could look to betting against this Dallas team, strictly following that the home opener trend. But it just seems to me like I like this offense and the consistency this Dallas team brings. And they're coming off a game in Minnesota where they're in a shootout winner. So the rest advantage certainly favors the Dallas Stars here, guys. So Timothy, I'll answer that question at the end of the show if we have time. Guys, any questions you have at all on any Puck Time episodes, we'll try and get to them towards the end of the show. As always, we appreciate it. Carm, back over to you, brother.
Yeah, Andrew, I look at this game and it's the 3-way line because I can't lay that price with the Dallas Stars, even though I think the Dallas Stars are one of the elite teams in the NHL. I'd rather lay the regulation price, them to win in 60 minutes. Given the fact Minnesota, and I know Minnesota's a good team, but they are on the second of a back-to-back with travel here. I just think Minnesota or Dallas is the right side in regulation. Jake Ottinger should go tonight. It looks like it's going to be Gustafsson for the Wild, but that's what I like here.
Yeah, and that is an interesting point because I've noticed a lot of teams are doing this already here, Carm, where the second half of back-to-backs, they're planning to start the starting goalie. Usually we see it later in the season, like closer to playoff time. But like Vasilevsky is starting today for Tampa, even though they played yesterday. So sometimes we're seeing the back-to-backs, the front part of the back-to-back, they're giving to the backup, and then the actual better goalie of the starter, they're giving them the harder job. I think that comes down to coaching maybe. Like, does the coach want to throw the backup to the Wolves and give them the harder situation, or do they want to give the starting goalie what's your take on that? I think it is kind of cool because Gustafsson is a really good goalie. And that's the funny thing is, like, maybe we see an under. Maybe we see the first Stars under of the year, but they do just have so much talent. They just have so much talent. So it's interesting. All right, guys. Let's look at a couple questions here, then we'll wrap up the show here very soon. Looking over things, Timothy says, hey, Andrew, if I may ask you, where do you get those lineup images you just shared on the Edmonton power play? One of my favorite websites to use is dailyfaceoff.com. Dailyfaceoff.com. You go to the line combinations, you scroll down, you look at power plays, you can look at starting goaltenders, you can look at updated fantasy information. So dailyfaceoff.com is really good. Left wing lock is really good. Goaliepost.com, really good. So some really good websites to look at as well. What's up, Wash Redskin? How about those Capitals? Back-to-backs at this point of the season mean nothing, in my opinion, he says. Yeah, I agree to a certain degree. I mean, I'll put it this way. If you like the Leafs, I think you like the back-to-back on the Leafs more if they won or if they lost yesterday than if they won. Like, if the Maple Leafs beat the Detroit Red Wings 7-1 yesterday, maybe that back-to-back affects them mentally and they don't really care as much about this game, right? But they're off a loss, so the back-to-back, I don't think it should affect their legs. But you can't really tell me that looking at that Washington and Tampa Bay game, there's not a rest advantage washed Redskin for the Washington Capitals. You know, it's only a day or two, but there is an advantage with it. So I don't know. I think I get it. There's not like a huge flurry of games already where these guys should be extremely tired. But I still think it matters a little bit here, Carm. All right, brother, you cashed the bank play yesterday, and you got another one for us. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Carm.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think normally at the beginning of the season, you would think it doesn't matter. Last year we saw early in the season that it actually did matter at times. You know, you got an you have a mini team coming off an OT game and shootout against the LA Kings. Obviously, it is a quick turnaround for them. Catch a flight, head to Dallas for this one, check in, probably an optional morning skate, and then the game against the team that's already at home waiting to play tonight's game. So we'll see if that comes into play or not as far as this one goes. I don't think you can totally discount it. So you have to keep that, as part of your handicapping. Does it affect it? And then use that in the coming weeks as well, too, because it's obviously very important. We did cash with St. Louis yesterday. They did pretty much what I expected them to do at plus money. It was between plus 102 and plus 104. I am going to go to the last game of the night for your bankroll play. And all of these plays are a flat 200. So it is with this one here, I'm going to roll with the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. The Ducks are minus 140 right now. So it's basically that is it would be 200 to win 143. 143 would be added to that bankroll. Hopefully, if we get the win tonight with the Ducks, the Pittsburgh Penguins, a couple of good starts. Then they regressed a little bit. They head to Anaheim, and I think Anaheim's played a couple of games. They lose to this is their home opener. They lost against the Kraken. They played a very good game, I think. They never gave up. They came back from multiple deficits against the San Jose Sharks, showing some character, tying that one up, and then winning it in OT. So you got to give them credit. Some teams fall behind late in the third period by a couple of goals. They just give it up and they're done. This Anaheim team with Joel Quenneville, he's going to figure this team out at some point and get him playing some better defensive hockey as well, too. I think they have enough in their home opener tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins to get the win. So you normally don't see Anaheim favored against Pittsburgh. So that's got to tell you something. It's the Ducks minus 140, 2 to win, 143. So we'll see if we add to the bankroll heading into Wednesday night.
Way to go, Carm. Yeah, that was a good call on St. Louis. And the funny thing is they started off really slow, but then they just got things together and never looked back. Garth Drake dropping the 5 sheet. Appreciate it. Thoughts on Kraken Habs no goal in first 10? Well, Garth, to be honest, I gave out the first period over earlier in the show. So with that said, I guess that would lead me to liking the goal in the first 10 here, Carm. If I like the first period over, I probably like goals early on. Look, Garth, they've played a couple road games so far. They're back at home, first home game, celebration for the home opener. It's going to be a huge ceremony, as it always is in Montreal. Seattle coming to town here. So far, we've seen 3 straight first period overs in Montreal games. The defense could be sloppy early on for not just one team, but for both teams. So I do lean towards a goal in the first 10. So, Carm, I don't know what you feel about it. Maybe it could be a flat start, but I don't want to go away from a trend right now.
Yeah, I'm with you, Andrew, on it. There's so many games today. Some of them I just left on the cutting room floor, and is why I wanted to mention them on the show, because I do like them, but I don't want to flood my clients with a bunch of 1 or 2% plays, trying to be a little more selective, and hopefully the selective ones are the winning ones. What I will do, I think, moving forward is in my write-ups on my plays for my clients, I'll let them know what in in the analysis section what I have slight leans on as well too. So at least they know my thought process going from day to day, week to week, and month to month in the NHL. Someone posted that the Anaheim Ducks are 9-0 in home openers. I hope that's not like I talked about it on last call about when the field goal kicker comes in and they go, this guy hasn't missed from inside 40 yards in his last 32 attempts, and then he double doinks one. I would love to see that 9-0 become 10-0. So that would be fantastic for me. Hit a bankroll bet and continue to move on. I just want to try and make you guys money. That's bottom of the day. I just want to make you guys some money.
Martez, should I bet on Pittsburgh tonight? Come on, man. Come on. What's
going on,
Martez?
Martez Denny. That's it. If the Penguins win tonight, I'm no longer eating at Denny's. I'll tell you that much. But Martez, God bless you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Join the ever-growing community here. I have a 4% play up in the NHL as part of $5 Tuesdays. I also have a NFL 5% play up for Sunday, and then a couple of World Cup qualifying games for today. But I will give you a coupon code. Sunday 10 will get you $10 off that 5% play on Sunday. So Andrew, close us out. Let us know what you have up at WagerTalk and take us home.
Guys, first and foremost, whether you're here watching Puck Time supporting, whether you buy picks from us sometimes, whether you don't, whether you're all access, do not sleep on Carmine's NFL. All right? Carm is crushing the NFL. He crushes the big plays. He's doing really well in contests. He's already won part of a contest before with the quarter prize. Don't sleep on Carm's NFL action, guys. All right? He's not going to brag, not going to show off. You know, a lot of people on Twitter and TikTok and everywhere are bragging about themselves. Carm knows his stuff with NFL. Don't miss out on that 5% play. But, of course, get his hockey plays as well. Great show today. Jam-packed live chat. Really appreciate it, guys. All I'm going to promote is my $5 play, best bet up in the NHL, but also a great package with Prez. 3 days for the price of one, combo pack, $59. Go to my profile page, guys. Sign up for that. You're going to get every single play. And today's going to be a big day for me. Props, totals, sides, maybe even a same-game parlay. Me and Prez combo for the next 3 days. That will do it. Thank you so much, guys. Drop a like and always comment below what you are betting, as we are curious what you guys have for your action. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, same place.
Two minds are better than one. Steve Merrill, Dan Alexander. That's a dangerous combination, and we have researched the travel situation here for Rams-Jags Sunday morning in London. I do think there's an edge in this game also from a betting perspective. Full details, free play, free analysis for your Sunday Wembley game. Rams-Jags coming up free right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. And we've back-to-back winning weeks here for your Sunday 9:30 a.m. Eastern kickoff. So let's go for a third week in a row. We'll give you a free play winner in a second. And I reference our producer, Dan Alexander, does all the great graphics here for my videos. And he and I were researching the travel for this situation. And I assumed the Rams weren't going back to his hometown of L.A., his new hometown of L.A. But what's interesting is we found out that they're staying in Baltimore all week until Friday. Not quite sure why you would do that. Why not get over sooner, minimize the travel and the distraction? And the Jags are actually doing that. They're leaving Monday, I believe, leaving from Jacksonville. They had a home game loss to Seattle, of course. Rams had a nice road game win in Baltimore. They've gone from West Coast to East Coast, 3-hour difference. Now they have another 5-hour difference to overcome. I don't think it's a big deal either way. And I do think not having the guys travel right after a game is probably easier on the bodies. They're going to practice at Camden Yards till Friday. So I'm not too worried about it, but I did think it was interesting to see the teams take two different approaches for this London game. And by the way, comment below, what are your thoughts? Travel early or travel later? I probably would have left on Tuesday, split the difference, leave on Tuesday or Wednesday and get acclimated to London and do some sightseeing. These games are a bit random, and we've talked about that the last couple of weeks. So I just kind of handicap them as a clean handicap, and I don't try to guess which team might have more fatigue or be more distracted. And like the Thursday night games, which we've done very well on, by the way, 6-1 heading into this Thursday's free play. By the way, 2-0 the last two Sunday mornings, as I mentioned. So maybe we're onto something. Let's just play the better teams in these games. And that's the Rams in this one. Let's not overthink it. And I feel the price is fair at -3 or less. Open 3 juice, but then early by Monday it was 3 flat. So we're getting a fair line here. And by the way, if you're new to sports betting, the reason I talk about that key number of 3 is on average, NFL favorites are going to win by exactly 3 points in this price range, at least about 9% of the time. So the difference between 3.5 is pretty substantial. And the look-ahead line this summer was briefly 3.5 in some spots. So we're getting some extra value now at -3 or less. And also I'm looking to fade Jacksonville. We faded them 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Football with the Chiefs. I did a free play video for you in that game. Gave you the over as well, which did cash. But I also like Kansas City in that game. And it was feeling pretty good when they were up 14-0. I was a little worried about the over. Hey, but it felt like the side was in play. But yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs found a way to blow it. Did bounce back this past Sunday night. We had a best bet winner for you in both the video and for my actual clients with the Chiefs last Sunday night against the Lions. And I call that a misleading win because I don't feel like the Jags are the better team in that game. And it does look like they were exposed last week at home against Seattle. A really bad offensive effort, scoring just 12 points in that game. And I think that could linger here as they travel because the passing offense is not spot on this year. Huge passing edge for the LA Rams in this one. In fact, the Jags are averaging just 5.9 yards per pass against teams that allow 6.9. And then look at the flip side of that. The Rams throwing for 7.7 yards per pass against teams that give up just 6.5. Jags have been slightly below average pass defense. The Rams' pass defense has been one of the best in the league, just 5.7 yards per pass allowed. Almost a certainty that the Rams are going to win the passing matchup here by a substantial amount. And I don't think Jacksonville is going to overcome with the rushing edge enough to make a difference here. I know it's an international game, but both teams are leaving from the East Coast. Rams are the much better team overall, better defense, and the much better passing attack. And it's pretty much a straight-up win situation at -3 or less. Take a look at the LA Rams. Early Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's at Wembley Stadium in London. Comment below. I read the comments, I reply back. Include some analysis of your time. How are you attacking this game on Sunday? And do you like these London games? There's been some value for us here. Back-to-back free winners for the last couple of weeks. We'll try to make it third in a row here with this game. Don't forget also your Sunday night and Monday night football videos are always posted here. I give you your weeknight college football videos. That Thursday night prime game I talked about that's done quite well the last couple of seasons. 6-1 start this year, over 70% free on Thursday nights last year. We've been dialed in on these Spotlight National TV games, and I try to give them all to you free here on the channel. All I ask is a thumbs up, like, and if you have a couple more seconds, a positive comment below as well. It goes a long way to keeping these videos free and plentiful on WagerTalk TV. Hey, speaking of free, click and subscribe is free. Don't cost nothing. Over 200 and 24,000 subscribers. Can't be wrong. Consider clicking the bell as well when you sign up here as a free member on WagerTalk TV as a subscriber. Click the bell as well for an instant alerts. When these videos are all posted throughout the week for the national TV games, the Spotlight games, and most importantly, my Saturday college football free play video with the top 25s, and also Sunday's NFL Fade the Public video. Click subscribe, click the bell for instant alerts. Now, if you want to get my official best bets, I give you all the Spotlight national TV games for free here in videos every week. Sometimes, like the Chiefs last Sunday night, they make my card and they become official best bets. But a lot of times they're opinions only. I give them to you here in the videos. I also post bonus free plays on my page that are last cut from the best bet card. But the only way to get my official client best bets, the same games I'm personally using each day, is to be a direct subscriber at WagerTalk.com. And I've got two very special offers. If you've been on the fence, thinking about getting on board, and by the way, use that shortcut you see on the screen, wt.buzz/SM. It gets you there quicker, saves you a couple seconds typing on the internet. But right now, when you go to my page at WagerTalk.com this week, all sports, all access specials, whether you want a short-term or a long-term. And by the way, it doesn't matter. Every client gets the same best bets I'm personally using. If I have a play, I send it to my clients. Whether you're a 1 day, a 1 week, a 1 month, a 1 year subscriber, everyone gets the same plays I'm personally using. Same games I've won consistently with since I started over 29 years ago as a full-time professional in August of 1996. Right now, 7-day all access, normally $99, you get it for just $69. Instant $30 discount with the promo code you see on your screen. Week 30, WEEK30, week 30, instant $30 discount on a 1 week all access. And yes, that is all access. It's going to get Major League Baseball playoffs each day that we have a best bet, college and pro football each day. And also basketball is here. Starts this Tuesday night. The NBA is here. So this is a great time to be an all sport, all access. Even the 1 week's going to get you into basketball next week if you time it right. Or if you want to get all sports, including college basketball, all of next year's baseball, rest of this year's college and pro football into next year. Yeah, the 1 year all access is the way to go. Not only does it get every sport every day, but it makes you take a true consistent investment approach, and it gets the cost of investment down to just a couple dollars a play, because I'm giving you an instant $500 discount right now with the 1 year all access, 365-day all access, every sport, every day, instant $500 discount at checkout when you use that promo code you see on your screen. And that is year 500, YEAR 500, year 500, instant $500 discount on the 1 year all access. So how do you use it? You go to my page, SteveMerrill, WagerTalk.com. On the right-hand side, you'll see the drop-down menus for all the sports specials. Go to All Sport All Access. If you choose the 1 week, use week 30. If you choose the 1 year, use year 500, and you'll get those instant discounts at checkout and get my best bets for just a few dollars a day, especially with that 1 year all access. SteveMerrill, WagerTalk.com to get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. On the way out, follow me on social media on X and Instagram at Steve Merrill. You see in the bottom corner of your screen, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL, at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next.
Welcome to Wager Talk today, the gold standard of and walk the walk. It is $5 Tuesday. We are all about getting you ready for a big Tuesday, and we're going to look ahead to the weekend. Jesse Schul is going to break down Texas versus Kentucky, and he's going to give us 2 college football teams to bet on or fade, and we have to settle up on a friendly bet that we made live on the show last week. Then we're going to bring in Brian Power, who's going to dive into NLCS Game 2 and Thursday Night Football between the Steelers and the Bengals. My good friend, the Prez, is going to join us. We're going to bury the hatchet. Apparently somebody, Dan, has started this rumor that Lawrence and I hate each other now and like thinks it's real and that we're putting on a front. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Rams and Jaguars in London. We got big games. It's $5 Tuesday. We're going to talk about Contender Series. And we got a really special all around the world where I'm breaking down some season win totals that we have after week 6, and these are so good. I think a couple of them are going to be client play. So buckle up. We got a big show. Gianni is not here today. It's the last day of Contender Series, so it's sad for us, but it's great because we get Gianni back on Tuesdays. But I do want to do a quick little Steam report. It's important to look at some of these lines that are moving in NFL. So if you want to get some bets down, I would highly recommend getting them down sooner rather than later. Line is moving in Kansas City. I'm already seeing 12s, and there's even a 13 out there at home against the Raiders. If you want to bet on Cleveland, which is a terrifying phrase, I would get on it sooner rather than later. It's 2.5. There are some 3s popping up. FanDuel and DraftKings have already moved to 3. I believe Circa has as well. So if you want to get the number under 3 on Cleveland, grab that one. If you want to bet on Miami, then just wait and you're going to get a 3. We're almost over 7 in the New England-Tennessee game. So if you do not want this line to get to 7.5, bet you're betting New England sooner rather than later. So money's come in on Chicago. That line has moved down to 5.5. And the other move that I see is I shouldn't be surprised by this, but Denver opened -8 against the Giants. That is now down to 7. So if you're wanting to bet on the Giants or Denver, you're at the key number of 7. And then we've seen a pretty big move on Green Bay. Opened at 4.5. It's up to 6.5. So you want to bet on Green Bay before that gets to 7. Highly recommend you do that. So that's your quick little Steam report for the NFL. Thanks very much for joining us, guys. All right. So let's set the scene last week when Jesse came on. Georgia Tech was getting 14.5. Jesse said we're fading him, and I said I'll take that bet. I'll go head-to-head with you. It was a great suggestion here by Premium Picks. Andy, if you lose, I have to wear the Billy Bob teeth for the first 5 minutes of the next show. And if Andy wins, Jesse has to wear a Halloween mask in his segment and say he's hiding his face because he's not worth being in front of the great Andy Lang. So if you do not know what happened on that game, let's bring in Jesse. And so if you
are we going to tell them how Georgia Tech covered? I don't think anybody's going to hear me if I try and talk through that mask. Let's talk about how Georgia Tech covered.
I'll let you talk about it because I had no business covering that spread by 0.5 point. I had no business winning that bet. Go ahead.
They got a 2-point conversion in the first quarter, the first touchdown of the game for no apparent reason.
No reason. There was no reason to go for 2. There was no reason to go for that 2.
Let's not forget my other fade was Florida State and sprinkle on the money line, Pitt one outright. We did that again. So this segment, we've given out double-digit dogs winning outright, I think, 3 weeks in a row now.
You've done fantastic on these. It's a hard thing to do, which is go against the grade, take a big favorite and say why we should fade him. So you've absolutely crushed that segment. And I laughed so hard when I saw them go for 2 early, and I was like, that just took away the 0.5 point, which was the biggest selling point.
They clearly pissed me off because I'm going against them again this week.
All right. Well, let's first start off with Texas and Kentucky, and then we'll get your fade teams. Texas off of the big win. Is this a possible letdown spot against Kentucky, who apparently struggles mightily against good teams? What's your breakdown on Texas and Kentucky?
Is this a letdown spot? I'm going to say, Andy, Texas had their letdown spot. It was called the first 4 weeks of the season. They finally figured out how to properly use Arch Manning. This at one point was the number 1 ranked team in the country. We can't lose sight of that. Their value had dropped to the point where they were a pick'em at home against Oklahoma, who might have had a backup quarterback. Turned out John Mateer actually played. I'm high on Texas moving forward, at least in games against teams like Kentucky. Texas 4-2. They failed to cover in 4 of their 6 games. I was impressed with the 23-6 win over Oklahoma. Oklahoma's got a far better defense than anybody in the SEC, maybe the best defense in the country. Arch Manning, 21 of 27 passing, 166 yards. A lot of short passes. I mean, not throwing the ball downfield, but high completion percentage. I'm impressed with the fact that they forced John Mateer into 3 interceptions. That could have had something to do with the injury. The running back, Wisner, ran for 94 yards on 22 carries, which is an impressive feat against that Oklahoma defense. And they held Oklahoma to just 48 rushing yards on 30 carries. Kentucky, they're 2-3. They failed to cover in 4 of their 5 games. They're 0-3 in SEC play. They rank 14th in the SEC in total defense, allowing 402 yards per game. They rank 14th in the SEC in pass offense, averaging just 172 yards passing per game. They got a freshman quarterback, Cutter Boley. He's thrown for 627 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, completing just 57% of his passes. And he's going to go up against a Texas defense that just absolutely shut down John Mateer in Oklahoma. Do I think it's a letdown spot? I do not. Texas is back, baby. They're back on track. They won this game 34-14 at home last year, or 31-14 at home last year. I think they win on the road here by a similar score. They will cover the 12 points.
I'd have to agree with you. I think that was very well said. Their letdown spot was the beginning of the season. Yeah, I think that there's some real truth to that. So yeah, I was really happy Gianni was on an island with Texas last week. It felt like, and that came through. So I was happy to see that go through for him. All right, every week we tell you can pick 2 teams to support or fade. We know you're going to fade a couple teams. What teams did you pick? You already spoiled one, Georgia Tech, but let's start with the other. Who's your first fade of the week?
Going to fade Georgia, and you might remember, Andy, before the season got started, I came on this show and gave out Georgia's win total under. I said I think they're going to lose at least 2 games, and this one was one of the ones I had circled as a potential trouble spot for Georgia. Ole Miss beat them last year. It's Lane Kiffin versus Kirby Smart. Obviously, the two work together as assistants under Nick Saban. I also mentioned that the culture is shifting in college football. The game is changing. And Kirby Smart comes from that old school Nick Saban style, sort of an authoritarian, old school recruiting classes and developing players. Whereas now the game has turned into more go out and get players in the portal, pay them with NIL money. And there's nobody better at that than Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's like the more progressive, and it's getting to the point where I have to wonder, in the new era, is Lane Kiffin actually a better coach than Kirby Smart? And that people will clip that and they will make fun of me for that. But we'll see how it pans out over the next 3 or 4 years. I also mentioned that Georgia had some legal troubles in the offseason, a record amount of players getting arrested this summer. And it just seemed to me that Kirby Smart was maybe losing his control over his team due to the fact that these guys can come and go whenever they please. They can go to the highest bidder. And I don't know if Kirby is going to handle that well. Anyways, this is a tough matchup for Georgia. They played a bunch of tough games in a row. Last week, that game against Auburn was close. It should have been closer than it was. A lot of bad calls went in the favor of the Bulldogs. And at the end of the game, Kirby Smart was surfing on a table, acting like he was 19 years old. That was a sight to see. Georgia's just 2-3-1 against the spread. They've come off a win over Tennessee. Then they had the bye before they lost to Alabama. They went and beat up on Kentucky, and then last week against Auburn. And now they're facing an Ole Miss team coming off a 24-21 win over Washington State. Obviously, it looks like Ole Miss was getting caught looking ahead to this Georgia game. We don't know for sure who's going to start at quarterback for Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss has thrown for 1,286 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 pick. Statistically, he looks better than the starter, Austin Simmons, but Lane Kiffin has said Austin Simmons will get a chance to win his job back. I'd have to lean Trinidad Chambliss, but either one of them should be a capable quarterback. This one opened at 5.5, got bet up to 7. Now there's 7.5s on the board. I honestly think this is a difficult spot for Georgia. I know they're 33-1 at home since 2019. Now that the bubble has burst, maybe they'll be 33-2 after this game. So I'll take the 7.5 and I'll sprinkle a little on the money line.
All right. Going back to the well one more time with my Georgia Tech team. All right, you're fading them. They burned you once on a 2-point conversion, but you're going right back to them. I kind of can't blame you just because they really shouldn't have covered that game. They looked great early, but that was not the most confident cover in the world. What do you see not going right for Georgia Tech this week?
Well, it's just a really tough spot. Georgia Tech will actually be the dog in this matchup. They're getting 1.5 points. I think they should probably be getting 3.5 points because this Duke team is tough, and I don't know that Georgia Tech matches up well against them. Of course, Georgia Tech 6-0, 4-2 against the spread. I did give out Georgia Tech as one of my long shot teams to make the playoffs, but I didn't expect them to run the table. And this spot on the road at Duke, their last road game, they almost lost at Wake Forest. They needed overtime to come from behind and win that game. I'm really concerned about the use of Haynes King. I mean, I love Haynes King. He's a real gamer, but he's the heart and soul of his team. But he's averaging 17 yards per carry, and he runs the ball like a fullback. He doesn't, I never see the guy slide. Let's put it that way. When's the last time anybody's seen Haynes King slide? He usually lowers his shoulder and invites contact. A guy like that carrying the ball 17 times per game, that's not going to last all season long. That will come to an end, and we all know how that with a trip to the tent. We've seen Jackson Dart in the pros go into the tent every week the way he plays, and Haynes King is much the same. Duke on the other side, they got the number 2 passer in the ACC, Darian Mensah. He also ranks number 2 in the ACC behind Carson Beck in quarterback rating. Yeah, Duke's just 4-2, but that game against Illinois where they lost 45-19, that was a product of turnovers, 4 fumbles in that game. You can't handicap fumbles. You take away those 5 turnovers, and Duke would have had a chance to win that game. They were certainly moving the ball. Darian Mensah threw for 334 yards in that game. I'm not sure that this is a great matchup against a passing offense. Georgia Tech does struggle against the pass from time to time. They don't get a ton of pass rush. And when it comes to Duke's defense is actually pretty solid against the run. And we know that's all Georgia Tech does is run. Duke's only allowing opponents to average 3.4 yards per carry. If they can hold Georgia Tech under 4 yards per carry, I think they'll get the W at home here. So I will take Duke -1.5.
Care to make it a little interesting, Jesse?
Well, a mask and a wig, perhaps?
Let's do it. Give me Georgia Tech. I'm gonna roll with Georgia Tech. We'll do the same bet. You have to do a mask and a wig next week. I have to wear the Billy Bob teeth to start the show and through your segment. I'm rolling with Georgia Tech here. All right, so that's an official bet. Jesse, you got Duke. I got Georgia Tech. Let's do it. Loving these. So it's $5 Tuesday, Jesse. What do you have up at WagerTalk?
I have a play on the Thursday night football game as my $5 play. That's available on my page right now. I also have a play in Major League Baseball. Been doing pretty well with Major League Baseball in the playoffs, doing pretty well with Major League Baseball for the season. Unfortunately, I'm coming off my first losing week in the NFL this past week. Still hitting 70% with my NFL picks, though, dating back to last year's playoffs, the beginning of last year's playoffs. So it's hardly time for panicking.
Yeah, 70% in the NFL is truly incredible. That's a hell of a run. Jesse's got a $5 play up for Thursday night football. Jesse, great segment, great breakdowns. You and I are one of us is gonna be in some kind of costume next Tuesday. So great job as always, Jesse. Jesse Schewel, everyone. Thank you very much, Jesse. Have a great Tuesday.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
Absolutely. All right. Little talk in the chat about Survivor. Dan, you and I both advanced. So tough week in Survivor. The Chiefs are a pretty obvious pick. I said that I think I want to save the Chiefs, and 3-2 is like I don't get the point of saving teams when one loss and we are out. Yeah, there's a couple different mindsets, and my mindset in particular is if I lose this week or if I lose in week 16, it doesn't matter. So I have to think short term, but I also have to think long term with this. So there's a couple teams that I'm eyeing here, but it's not going to be the Chiefs for me. I want to save the Chiefs. They're healthy. they're going to be really, really good down the stretch. That's going to be a valuable team to have in the later weeks here. So, Dan, have you looked ahead at Survivor? I'm playing the long game here with this one. How have you been? You just, of course, we have to pull up the slide here.
Anytime. And I you know that I wasn't ready to talk Survivor because I didn't have my camera here set up for you, Andy. But I'm always ready to talk Survivor. That's
You're ready
the
to talk.
You don't have to you don't have to get ready if you stay ready, Andy. And that's the separation is in the preparation here. But
Wow.
for me, I mean, Kansas City Chiefs look good. We're seeing them as like 12-point favorites, but
Yeah, they're the obvious one.
that's the division game that we always worry about. Raiders actually always play them tight. I don't know if this incarnation of the Raiders is one. And also it depends what ref crew do we get for Kansas City. And then you can tell me how close this game will be or how close it won't be. I was honestly thinking about maybe taking a shot this week, Andy. And I know, now we're talking week 7. You start clutching your pearls a little bit tighter, but you have teams who are favorites to win games that will not be the rest of the year. Like you have a situation where you could take Cleveland here as 3-point favorites against a Miami team who's looking for any reason to get rid of their head coach. So
agreed.
This week is a little bit tougher. But again, Kansas City is the obvious one. If you want to be safe, you take Kansas City. Green Bay we used last week. So Green Bay on the road, something that you might kick around. One that I might just get in the bank now, I think Detroit's going to beat Tampa Bay. So, you want to go Detroit off a loss, returning home. There probably is going to be a better spot to bet Detroit later in the year. That's one that you probably don't want to toy with. Seattle against Houston, that's one too that I was thinking. So there's like 5 options on the board here for me, Andy, this week, which kind of worries me. But it also is nice that we have some options to kick around.
So Seahawks at home Monday night against the Texans. I'm telling you, this Texans team is not that good.
Yes.
They're fraudulent season so far. They've beaten bad teams.
Agreed.
Panthers at Jets. Dan, if you could squeak out a week where you get a win from the Panthers, how big would that be?
It would be huge, but also you're just buying the Panthers insanely high right now. You know what I mean? The Jets are awful, but do I want to back the Panthers when they're road favorites, when they were projected to be one of the worst teams
Panthers
of the year?
are bad. Panthers are bad.
If they were at home, you could probably talk me into that. I don't think this is where I take because here's the thing again, Andy, we talk about teams that you would kick yourself losing with or teams that you would be like, all right, I lost in Survivor because a 14-point favorite lost outright. If in week 7 you lost because you took the Panthers on the road, you would be like, I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? Like that one would be hard to swallow.
I'm looking hard at the Patriots at the Titans. That was going to be my easy pick, and then Titans fired their coach. So now do we get a bounce back? But as pointed out in the chat, Vrabel going back to Tennessee. Is Vrabel really going to lose to his old team who has been absolutely terrible? Calvin Ridley's out. What weapons does this Tennessee Titans team have? Their defense is bad. They can't score. Their quarterback is literally just dropping the ball with nobody around him. So there's some interesting ones, but the 312 brings it up. Do you just survive in advance and take the chalk teams like the Chiefs, or do you try and plan it out? I'm going to plan it out. I'm going to try and take some chances because you got to hit 18 winners, which means you're going to have some bad teams get some wins throughout. So I don't know. We'll see. Interesting talk and really good talk in the chat, guys. Appreciate that. So it's $5 Tuesday. I got my $5 Contender Series bets last week of Contender Series, guys. Roll with me. We're coming off of 2 $5 Tuesday winners. We got a play that is locked and loaded. We're going to be live on the Winning in the Shadows YouTube channel to watch the very last episode of Contender Series. There's 6 fights tonight. It's going to be fireworks. We're going to award the best fighter of the season tonight. It's going to be a great live show. And join me on $5 Tuesday for the last Contender Series pick of the season. We've been running pretty good in UFC and in Contender Series. We've hit 2 5% plays, a 4% play in a row. We've hit 2 Contender Series plays in a row. Full disclosure, we lost a couple small ones on Saturday, but the profits have been there. So join me. It's the very last episode until next fall on Contender Series. So let's get one more winner in the bag on Contender Series. That's over at WagerTalk.com, WT.buzz/AL. Let's bring in Brian Power. Talk about a streak, Brian. 8-0. 8-0 the last 4 weeks coming on this show, giving out picks. That is pretty incredible, man.
I'm just trying to impress you, Andy, and Dan Alexander for that matter, even though we could not see Dan. But trust me, whether we hear or see, always trying to impress Dan.
Yeah, Dan just casually comes on and has rhyming, like what would he say, the separations and the preparation.
How do you live with yourself saying things like that, Andy?
Yeah, what is this, a high school lacrosse team? Come on, what are we doing here? All right, let's go to let's start with baseball, Brian, and then we're going to talk about Thursday Night Football. You want to start with a little baseball here?
Why not? I guess it's more immediate. It's tonight. Even though you know what's funny? You guys were just talking about Survivor. The Thursday Night Football game, believe it or not, I don't think is a bad option. You guys didn't mention that one, but we'll do the baseball game first. I know the rule of thumb is you don't take road teams, and Lord knows, I don't bet road favorites, generally speaking. But should we just get to it now since I teased it? I feel am I screwing up your format, Andy? I'm sorry.
No. Let's do Thursday night, and I will tell you that why I'm pretty sure Dan and I agree on this. It's a short week. It's a divisional game. These teams know each other. Weird stuff happens. Dan did a fantastic job laying off the Rams against the 49ers a couple weeks ago. So, and what happened, we lost a lot of people in Survivor. So I agree with you that on paper, Steelers, but this is such a weird game. But let's break this down. How do you see this going? We got Pittsburgh -5.5. We got over/under at 42.5. I'll tell you, that seems a little high with these two teams. What's your breakdown on this one?
Yeah, look, it's always a tough game to bet when you're talking Thursday Night Football. I mean, look what happened last week. I did, for the record, come on the program last week, say take the Giants plus the points. We didn't need them. They beat the Eagles outright. It's still early in the week, obviously, but here's what I know, okay, going to our Survivor discussion. I want no part of the Cincinnati Bengals in this game or really any other game for the remainder of the season. I don't think the Bengals are winning more than 2 games the rest of the season. Right now, I've got them power rated as the dead last team in the entire league. 32nd out of 32 teams. I know there's a lot of other metrics out there that support that assessment. I just saw Ben Baldwin with his weekly tweet with the tears. Cincinnati's sitting right there in last. And coming into the season, we knew the Bengals were a stars and scrubs roster. Andy, well, as we all know, they lost their biggest star, quarterback Joe Burrow, to a likely season-ending injury. I don't think Burrow's going to be rushing to come back. And now, since he's going 40-year-old Joe Flacco, who admittedly is probably an upgrade over Jake Browning, but he gave a game effort. Flacco did this past Sunday against Green Bay, first start with the team. He had just arrived. But the Bengals still lose 27-18 and were outgained by 2.5 yards per play. That game should not have been that close. Meanwhile, in a 4-0 sweep for yours truly in NFL Week 6, the Steelers were actually my game of the week. I laid the 5.5 against the Browns. I was joking with some friends on Sunday who were over the house. It was probably the first time in 10 years, Andy, I bet the Steelers as a favorite because they always seem to win close, so I never like laying points with them. But the play, it was more about fading the Browns. They were in a horrible spot, returning from London, playing a third straight road game, no buys in the mix, while the Steelers were coming off a bye. So a huge situational edge there for the black and gold. It obviously ended up being a 23-9 win and cover. We mentioned the record on the show, 8-0. I want to give something out here to the people. I'm not 100% certain I'm going to get to the window on this myself. You can always check back at wt.buzz/BP. I'll post it for free if I do. But what I've settled on for Thursday right now, Steelers team total over 23.5. You can bet this right now, -125 at DraftKings. Look, Bengals defense, guys, it's horrible. They've allowed 27 or more points each of the last 4 games. Meanwhile, the Steelers, they're averaging 23.8 points per game for the season, so right at that team total. But they've faced mostly good defenses, Andy. Browns, Vikings, Patriots, Seahawks. The one time Aaron Rodgers and company faced a bad defense was the season opener against the Jets, and they ended up scoring 34 there. So I think what I want to do with this, end of the day, I want to take Joe Flacco out of the handicap. I think there's a lot of variance there. He's got good receivers to throw to now, which was not the case here in Cleveland. So maybe he'll be better. I don't know. Let's just leave the Bengals out of the offense, out of the equation here. The Steelers just had 5 scoring drives against the Browns defense that is one of the best in the league. 3 of them were field goals, but I think they should put up a decent number of points here on Thursday against a horrible, horrible Cincinnati Bengals defense.
Yeah, I thought that was a real statement game for Pittsburgh. We know the Browns are terrible, but the defense is good. The fact that they were able to move the ball on them was quite interesting. I started Jalen Warren on a fantasy team, and I did not have high expectations. And so I watched that game. I was like, wow, they're running the ball here. So yeah, I like that handicap.
And something else, going back to the survivor discussion, and will Pittsburgh win this game? There's a lot of talk. I was having a discussion this morning with somebody about if the Steelers win this game, and I presume they will, is there going to be value on betting the Ravens to make the playoffs? The Ravens are off this week. They're 1-5, but I don't know if you've looked at the schedule yet. It's a very favorable schedule coming out of the bye when presumably Lamar Jackson will be back. Why am I bringing that up right now? I think the Steelers, there is a real impetus right now. They know, that was the reason I took against the Browns. They have the chance to really put some separation between themselves and the rest of the AFC North with not just the win on Sunday, but a win here as well. Again, don't want to lay it, but I do think the Steelers are going to win. And, chances are they're going to put up some points against this crummy Bengals defense.
All right. Justin's just says if that was Prez calling, can you pick it up live on speaker? No, that was my business partner who clearly knows not to call me between 12 and 1 o'clock, but he does it damn near every day. I just happen to have it.
Isn't that great? I have somebody who calls me too every day. I said, don't call me at 12:15 on Tuesday. And then right at 12:16, my phone goes off.
It's my fault for having the ringer on, but he knows this. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's talk baseball here. And low scoring game in game 1 on this one. I wonder if we're going to see more of that. The Dodgers are up 1-0. Yamamoto for Dodgers. Peralta for the Brewers. Dodgers are up 1-0. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, so obviously we've already seen the road team take the first 2 games over in the ALCS. Now the Dodgers are going to look to do the same here in the NLCS. They win game 1, Andy, as you just mentioned last night, 2-1. That was largely on the strength of a historic outing from starter Blake Snell. I don't need to tell anybody who watched that game about that, but Snell was the first pitcher to face the minimum number of hitters through 8 innings in a postseason game since Don Larson's perfect game in 1956. So it really was one of the best postseason starts that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I wasn't around in 1956, obviously. Now, being able to take the first 2 games of a postseason series, obviously huge. You look at the current best-of-7 format, we have seen 17 instances in NLCS history of a team going up 2-0. Not surprisingly, 14 of those 17 times, the team that went up 2-0 advanced to the World Series. And Andy, I like the Dodgers to win again tonight. This is a 3% client play for me that you're getting for free right here on WagerTalk today. Starting pitching has been outstanding for LA this season, or this postseason, pardon me. A collective 1.65 ERA, just a 141 batting average allowed. You mentioned Yamamoto getting the nod tonight. It does just so happen his worst outing of the season came here in Milwaukee back on July 7th. He lasted just 2/3 of an inning and allowed 5 runs. But you look at the year-to-date profile, guys, that performance just feels like a clear outlier. For the season, Yamamoto, 2.49 ERA. He's averaging 10.9 strikeouts per 9 innings. I know he was the starter for the only game the Dodgers have lost so far in the playoffs. That was game 3 of the LDS against Dan's Phillies, but even that wasn't a bad performance. He allowed 3 runs in 4 innings, and historically, Yamamoto has bounced back very well. I believe he's 10-0 following a start where he threw 80 or fewer pitches. And you talk about outlier performances. Prior to the LDS start versus the Phillies, we're talking about a guy in Yamamoto who allowed 1 or no earned runs in 6 straight starts. So I think he gets the job done here. The Dodgers bullpen, it can be hairy. It was an adventure last night, as we saw in the 9th inning, but they're well rested. I think we can all agree on that, not just because of Snell's outstanding outing last night, but 3 days off between the series. I know a lot of people are probably yelling in the chat right now, hey, Milwaukee has their ace, Freddie Peralta, going tonight. He allowed 3 home runs in his 2 LDS starts, Andy. The Dodgers, they've got a clear power edge in this matchup. Second in the regular season in home runs hit. The Brewers were just 22nd. As you know, more often than not, the team that hits the most homers wins in the postseason. Plus 2 numbers for Peralta concern me, guys. A 3.65 FIP and an average of 3.5 walks per 9 innings. I think those numbers suggest he was a little bit fortunate to lead the NL in wins this year. So end of the day, I love the fact we're getting a cheaper price on the Dodgers relative to game 1. I look for them to take a 2-0 series lead.
All right, looking for the Dodgers. Dodgers kind of flexing their muscle at the right time. So disappointment in the regular season, I would say, but they're one of these teams where it's championship or bust.
Yeah, exactly. It's 162. You can't be surprised coming off a World Series win. I mean, was the urgency there? Look at the other 3 teams that are still standing besides the Dodgers. There was all more of a sense of urgency. They didn't have the expectations. Obviously, the Dodgers did.
Yeah, I was doing NBA research. We're recording some NBA content later. I was looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder under their season win total, just because it's so inflated. 66 and a half.
You talk about a regular sport where the regular season there's not a lot of impetus for the top teams. The NBA.
Yeah. I could see the Thunder screwing around and not really caring for the first part.
I mean,
of the season.
That's a thin mark. 66. Wow. Yeah.
66 and a half. They're gonna win. I mean, they won 68 last year, and that was the easiest over I've cashed on an NBA future. I was like, these guys are injury proof, but coming off of the championship now, you get a little cocky, and so anyway, that's a story for another day. It's $5 Tuesday, Brian. What do you have up for everyone at Wager Talk?
It is. So I mentioned in that Steelers breakdown that it was a 4-0 sweep in NFL Week 6. You go back to last Monday, the previous Monday night, I've won 5 straight in the NFL. And plays that I believe Kelly Stewart would really be proud of. Had the Jags over the Chiefs last Monday. Talked about it last week on the show. I had the Giants over the Eagles on Thursday. Steelers were my game of the week on Sunday. Hit my teaser on Sunday. And then last night, it was the Atlanta Falcons outright over the Buffalo Bills. I knew that second half was going to be miserable watch when they didn't get that touchdown at the end of the half. It's the Falcons, everybody. You knew it was going to be a 90-minute sweep, but we got there, outright win. So I thought to myself, man, after sweeping the board in NFL Week 6, what a nice thing it would be if I offered my first bet in Week 7 for just $5. And you can get it right now at my page, wt.buzz/BP. It is a 4% best bet. I'll warn you, you're not going to like it. Except when it cashed out Sunday.
You went Jets alt line, didn't you? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I didn't do that. No, it's not that. But I always like to give the disclaimer because we sometimes, Andy, as you know, we pick up new clients who may not be familiar with your handicapping approach on $5 Tuesday. Obviously, as you just heard me with the winners, I have a predilection towards underdogs, and I'll just let you know there that before you yell at me, wait till Sunday.
All right. Brian Power, everyone. Great work. Good luck on $5 Tuesday. And yes, it is $5 Tuesday. As Brian said, if you haven't tried out a handicapper and you're interested in getting a play, it's $5 today. You get to see the write-up, get to see their betting style. So it's a great way to lock in your favorite handicapper or just check out some handicappers that you haven't tried before. Get as many as you want, but also bet responsibly. Make sure we don't have our entire bankroll on plays on a Tuesday night. So mine is up in Contender Series. You heard Jesse's got his up. Brian has his up. We also have a few more specials that we are running at Wager Talk. These all expire at midnight. We have 7 days of picks for just $11 a day for Steve Merrill, if you would like that one. We also have 90 days of sports, and you're going to get 30 additional days added for absolutely free. And then by 2026, get the rest of 2025 for free. So you want to buy a year of picks, you get 2026 locked in, starts right now. So go ahead and grab those all over at wagertalk.com. All right, let's bring in Prez. Hey, Lawrence, listen, apparently you and I are mortal enemies. Apparently,
I hate you, Andy.
I hate having Andy. You on. The only reason you're on here is because they make me do it. If it were up to me, I would never talk to you.
I'm one of the owners, and I force you violently to have me on your show, which used to be my show. Yes. Yes, I hate you so much that I handed you my show. Yes. Yes.
You sent me a picture of that comment. Somebody said something how much we hate. I was like, were they joking? You're like, no, they actually think that.
It's wild. Andy, Andy, I want to address this here. I just put this up. American Gamblers, Gary Sharp. Great name, Gary Sharp.
Great.
American Gamblers won $135 billion in sports betting in 2024. Tickets, more revenue than any major sports combined. Firstly, it would be all major sports combined, but let's not worry about grammar. Andy, here's my question to you. Yes, I've taken the show over. What else is new? If you put $1,000 into DraftKings and you gamble it 100 times, did you just gamble $100,000 or did you just gamble the very same $1,000 100 times?
Well, I would bet based on how much I increase or decrease.
I understand, but the point I'm making is when you pay tickets to go to a Blue Jay game, they don't give you your money back, so you
don't
can
have a
then
chance to win
use
your money
it
back.
again the next day.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, I built my bankroll up, but it was able to start a new business with it. So there's upside to it. So
Americans did not bet over $100 billion in 2024, Gary Sharp. Americans bet whatever they bet multiplied by how many times they bet it.
I feel like that's how much money I had on Contender Series last week. I really mean that. I have something I want to run by you, but I want to get your thoughts here on an NFL game here. That's why you've come on here. It's the London game, and we have sent them the Rams and the Jags.
Yep.
At least both starting quarterbacks are going to be playing. Normally when we send teams over there, it's like Carson Wentz versus, whoever. But interesting game here. I don't bet on these London games. I think they're too wonky. I feel horrible for anyone that went to that 13-11 debacle last week that was disguised as an NFL game. How do you break down Rams and Jags? Because I have a couple thoughts on these teams.
First, you don't. But then you get a call from Andy, who supposedly hates you, and says, can you break down a game that you're not interested in? And I say, can't I have another game? So, yeah. So, yeah. How am I doing, Andy?
I can't wait to get your thoughts on the game if it's coming anytime soon.
Brother, this game is a no bet zone game from my perspective. And I hate to say that, but a no bet is a bet. It just prevents you from losing money on a bad bet. If I had to take this game, I would take the Jags plus the 3 points simply because I'm getting 3 points and I'm getting the Jags off of a horrible game last week. If I had to bet the total in this game, I would bet the over. Last week the Jags put up 12, but they did move the ball up and down the field. They had a couple of bad turnovers. It was a horrible game. The week before they put 31 up against KC, 26 against San Fran. So this team can score and they can move the ball. And the Rams defense, we expected to be really, really good. I don't think they're as good as we thought coming into this game. They did allow only 3 points to Baltimore, but that's a little bit of a phony number. San Fran injured San Fran was able to march down the field and beat the Rams in LA, put up 26 on them. Indianapolis put up 20 on them. The Philadelphia put up 33 on them. And Jacksonville's defense has allowed 28 and 31 this year as well. So if I had to bet this game from a side perspective, I would take the dog at +3. From a total perspective, I would take over the total. But the best part is I don't have to bet this game.
I agree. Of the $100 billion that we all bet, we do not need to bet a penny
on this game.
On this game.
And Andy, people have to understand, like coming on here, you guys asked me to take this game apart. And I think I'm doing everybody a favor by saying this is a really tough game. And on top of it all, it's It's overseas. I don't know how these teams are going to travel. Like, it's just, I think you're just better off staying away from a lot of these overseas games. I mean, did you see last week's score coming?
No, I didn't see last week's score. Nobody did. Was that a scoregami? I wonder if that was a scoregami game. Did it? Can anyone confirm if that was a scoregami?
You know, Andrew, when I come on, Andy, when I come on, I like to preach and teach. Buy the half point and sprinkle Jags money line. So why would you buy a half point and sprinkle the Jags money line? So you want to buy from 3 to 3.5, and you want to pay 20 cents to do that. Kolb, I'm prepared to take your action all day, all night on every play you ever bet. That is a horrible, horrible thing to do. And I don't say this as a condescending jerk. I say this as a caring person who wants to protect your bankroll. Please, God, never buy off of a push ever in your life. And on top of that, never buy a half point, period. But if you're going to buy a half point, at least buy to the push, not off the push. Sorry, I'm a little bit emotional.
That's all right.
Right now.
Do you have any thoughts on a game or a hockey game or anything that you do like?
I love the New York Jets.
Okay.
I love the New York Jets against. I know, RJ, it sounded condescending. I have tone issues. I get it. But you guys know me. I love you all. I love the Jets this week, Andy. And this is a team that technically could be 4-2. They could have got it done last week against Denver, which is who we think a really good team. Now, I understand that this New York Jets team is not a good team by any stretch. And I get that bad teams find ways to lose. But I don't think Carolina is a good team. Now, I know they won their last 2. They won 3 of 4. All 3 of those games were at home. This Carolina team does not travel well. And we have been watching, betting, and participating in the NFL for decades after decades. Name the last team that went without a win, Andy. I think it was the Detroit Lions, or maybe they won. Yeah. And I think that was like 12 years ago or something. It was a long, long time ago. Teams do not go without a win in the NFL. They are going to win games along the way, and I think they're going to win this week. Not only do I like them +2, Andy, but I like them on the money line. I think the Jets win this game outright against Carolina, and this will for sure be a circa bet, and it might be a client bet. So there. And another bet that I think has good value, Andy, is 11-1 Jays to win the World Series. I understand you can consider that a homer bet, but that is a big number. And this is baseball, and teams often win 3, 4, 5, 10 games in a row, unlike other sports. And I don't buy into Seattle. I don't think they're this juggernaut team. Do I think the Jays are going to win the series? Probably not. But at 11-1 to win the World Series, I think that is delicious value.
You have such a great idea, a concept. It's basically it can be sports related. Your topic of you just ask why, like why do we do certain things? What some of them are like, why is hockey 3 periods? Why is football 4 quarters?
I'm going to start doing a whole social media series on why.
I love this concept. What are some of them?
Well, why is basketball 4 quarters, soccer 2 halves? Why are there 18 holes in golf? Why? Why is a par 4, not 5, like it should be when I play? Why? Why do you get to move the basketball all the way across the court simply because you took a timeout? Why? Why don't you get to go to field goal range with 2 seconds left in an NFL game if you call a timeout? Could you imagine the Super Bowl ending like that? You know, Kansas City down by 2 on their goal line, 2 seconds left. Are they going to call a Hail Mary? No! They went with the timeout technique.
Kolb has a good one. Why is men's college basketball halves instead of quarters?
Why?
Bro,
Why? Why are there's so many whys. I'm going to do a series on this. Why is a hockey rink not square? Why is a cricket pitch oval? Why is a baseball diamond a diamond? Why are there only 2 bases in cricket and 4 in baseball? Why do they wear protection in football but not in rugby?
All right, I have a food related one. I'm having iced coffee with, it's called Irish cream flavored syrup. I have been to Ireland many times. I have never tasted anything that resembles this flavor that's Irish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Irish spring soap. Ireland doesn't smell like that. It just doesn't. I don't know where we came up with.
Fortnite talks about tennis, and I want to address tennis. Why is it? Who came up with this cockamamie scoring program in tennis? And why is it love in tennis, nil in soccer, a duck in cricket, and 0 in North America? Who is coming up with all this shit? Anyway,
it's a great idea for a series. It really is. We're just asking why.
Betting, bro.
All right, Prez. It's $5 Tuesday. What do you have up?
I got a 4% college football bet for Saturday. I love this bet. You guys will love it too. It's on a big game. Everyone will enjoy it. I'm rolling in 4% plays. Andy, these are my plays, bro. I'm on a 7-3 run in college football in my 4% plays, and I've had like 40 of them since January 1st. I'm 64%, so you can get that for $5. And it is a TV game with ranked teams. As well, I have an NHL play up tonight with my clients. Full disclosure, I had a horrible night in NHL last night. I went 0-3, so that was terrible. But I own the sport, and probably a good time to play me. I've started the season 3-7. Andy, I've lost 2 bets already this year with under 6, 2-1 with 5 minutes left in the game. 2-1 with 5 minutes left in the game, and both games ended 5-2. So I feel like I'm seeing it right, but I'm just getting some bad puck luck, and that's fine. It happens. This is an 8-month betting sport.
Yes. You go through multiple seasons. So it's a marathon, not a sport. These daily sports, listen, they're great for building bankrolls, but they can be an absolute grind. Grind.
So Andy Schlane writes, what strain were you smoking when you went down this rabbit hole? Genuinely curious. I was smoking the Lang strain. Andy sent it to me, right? You grew it and you sent it to me.
Yes,
I don't smoke any weed, bro.
You're edibles.
Yeah, I eat them. Anyway, you should have seen me last night on Andrew McGinnis's show. Well,
I did see you. I did.
10 a.m. I was like, but that wasn't weed. That was pain. I have torn my bicep, and I have been in so much pain. By the time 10 o'clock comes, I'm passing out in pain.
I get it. Well, I hope your back gets better. Let's keep cashing. Cash a few bets. Yeah, I hurt my elbow. I can't even go to the gym. I'm going to have to take like 2 weeks.
Are you taking painkillers? I do not take painkillers ever. It is the single worst thing you can do. It ends up masking your pain, and then you end up using your injury because you think you aren't in pain. Do not do painkillers. Suck it up.
I won't. Thank you, Prez. Have a good day. Cash some bets. Guarantee your back will feel better. Lawrence Presman, everyone. All right, let's do all around the world and then contender series, and then we're going to get out of here. Let's do all around the world. Okay, here's what I did for all around the world. I went and looked. I'm this week I'm doing every NFL team. What's their current season win total? And are they worthy of client plays? I got a few more to do, but these are 3 of my favorites. So here's I think these Raiders and Dolphins are going to be client plays. I really like these. So season win totals. I'm looking at the Raiders under 5.5. They currently have a couple wins. They have a brutal schedule moving forward. I see 2 winnable games, Browns and Giants. Listen to some of these teams they play. At Chiefs, Jags, at Broncos, Cowboys, at Chargers, Broncos, at Eagles, at Texans, Chiefs, Week 18. I like the under on the Raiders. I do not see 4 wins on that schedule for that team. We'll move on to the Dolphins. Might be my favorite. Dolphins, They currently have a win, and their over-under is 5.5. The only winnable games I see are at Browns, Saints, maybe, but the Saints are frisky. And then they're at the Jets, but that's in December. They do get the Bengals, but other games they have at Falcons, Ravens, Bills, Commanders, Steelers, Bucks, Patriots. Where do 5 wins come from this Dolphins team? I don't see it. And then we talked about this yesterday with Gianni. Ravens. They're 1-5. I've had a really good read on this Ravens team. You guys watched the last couple weeks. I've called exactly what the Ravens are going to do. They threw away the last couple games, and immediately after the game on Sunday, Harbaugh comes out and says, we're getting defense back, Lamar's back. After the bye, this is the Ravens' schedule. They have 1 win. I think they get over this 8.5. They go Bears, at Dolphins, at Vikings, at Browns, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, at Bengals, Patriots, at Packers, at Steelers. I think there's 9 or 10 wins in there. You give me a healthy Lamar and just a remotely competent defense, I think they rip off 8-9 wins here. I love this over. It's very, very sneaky. They need everything to go right for them. They can't have another Lamar injury, but I really like that Ravens over. So I'm looking at the Raiders under, the Dolphins under, and the Ravens over. I really like that Ravens one just because I've had such a good read on them. So, all right, those are your NFL season wins. When Dan is next on, Dan's going to be on Thursday. We'll talk about our Eagles and our Colts season win totals because those are tough. I did the Colts yesterday, and it's a tough one, but I want to get Dan's thoughts on the Eagles. All right, we're going to finish up with the last week of Contender Series. Every Tuesday, I try and make the case for all of the underdogs. These are not official bets. We'll start with Mario Mingaj against Wes Schultz. Both these guys are bad. Mingaj is very bad. Every week on Contender Series, there's been one just horrific fighter that we've been able to make a ton of money on. I don't see that guy this week, but if there is one, it's Mario Mingaj. He's really good at submissions. That's it. Wes Schultz just has to not get down on the mat with him. But if he does, Mario Mingaj can submit him. But this guy's 7-0. What a fraudulent 7-0. Yeah, this line is completely flipped on Naftalayev and Leka. It's basically a pick 'em. Leka's a little bit of a favorite now. He opened as an underdog, so you can make a case for either guy. It's going to be a car crash. 2 big guys. These are heavyweights. This fight ain't going the distance. Michael Oliveira and Victor Valenzuela. Oliveira is a big UFC prospect. He checks all the boxes. He's 8-0. He looks the part. Long, powerful. Victor Valenzuela will make this a car crash. That's his path to victory. Push Oliveira back, swing wild. All of Valenzuela's fights finish early. This guy's violent, and sometimes Oliveira can be too patient. If Oliveira's too patient, Valenzuela will knock him out. So Valenzuela, make it chaotic. That's his path. Rahiki and Malumba. Malumba can do it everywhere. He can fight on the ground. He can submit. He can ground and pound. Rahiki's coming off a really good league from Australia, but Malumba's more versatile everywhere. Malumba's absolutely there. Juan Diaz and Juan Quan. If you don't watch this for any other reason, you want to watch this Juan Quan guy fight. He's got the body of a beanpole. He's super skinny, and that's going to be the path to victory for Juan Diaz. Get to the chin or punch him in the body because Juan Quan is about as skinny as I've never seen a fighter this skinny. I truly have never seen anything like this guy. This fight's not going the distance. Diaz just needs to get to the chin once, and Quan's out of there. Freddie Vidal and Levi Rodriguez. Freddie Vidal's the case you can make is that he wrestles and gets it to the ground. If this is on the feet for more than 30 seconds, Levi Rodriguez is going to knock Freddie Vidal into next week. Freddie Vidal's got to wrestle and get on the ground. All right, that's your case for all of the underdogs here on Contender Series. Thanks for joining us again. My $5 best bet is on this Contender Series. We've hit 2 in a row, and this is the very last week of Contender Series. Let's go out with a bang, guys. Join me on this $5 play. It's over at wt.buzz/AL. If you don't want a Contender Series bet, there are plenty of $5 plays up at WagerTalk. We got NFL, we got college football, we got MLB, we got NHL, you name it. We got you covered, so don't miss out on $5 Tuesday. Don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. Leave us a comment in the comments section. Tell us your best bet for tonight. Tell us what you agree or disagree with on the show today, and we're going to do it again tomorrow, same time, same place. Good luck.